Hello, welcome to SPDM TV. My name is Mike, part of the SPDM crew, and I watch a lot of TV. We talk about various TV topics, reviews, and general appreciation of TV past and new. You can follow me on Instagram threads, Blue Sky, and Serialized at MLHilty2452 to see what all I'm watching. This week, we are going to be talking about the year in television so far for 2025. This is occurring a little bit later than I had anticipated, mainly because I, as the host, don't know how to schedule things properly. But hey, it is what it is. But I am very happy to be talking to two of my favorite people when it comes to talking about television. I've got Alice. Alice, how's it going?
G'day, going well. It's a Sunday night here, so I'm ready for ready for the week is big term, but I'm prepared for the week at
Prepare
least.
Prepared for the week. Good
Yeah.
call. And then Shane, how's it going? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while. It's been a whopping 48 hours.
I feel it was it's
No,
been
less
like
than that. It's
36
it's,
hours.
it's way less than that. What am I thinking?
I'm tired, but we're doing fine.
Hmm.
So, here to talk about television, which honestly I haven't really done in a while because movies are usually my thing, so I'm ready.
Yeah. Alice, just for context, on Friday night, a bunch of us did a watch along together of The Toxic Avenger, the old school
Oh,
one.
oh, the original. I was like the new one? Okay, yeah, right. What was
Oh,
that
and
like?
gross and graphic
Uh,
Yep,
and
I think
hilarious.
Rowan
yep.
won for most unhinged commentary, specifically for a few jokes related to the skyline of New York City.
Oh yeah, I can imagine the line around that, like the thought process that would have gone around. So
Yep.
And Foster wins for best facial reactions to things and most uncomfortable laughter. So yeah,
good
that
for
was a lot of
him.
fun. And then Shane had a movie marathon yesterday. So content galore as
I
usual.
know, and none of it TV. Come on, guys. I've spent because I told Shane and Mike beforehand, but I'm on day two of a cold, which means today is a Sunday. It was a perfect just I sit and I do nothing day. So I've been trying to smash through episodes just to try and catch up for today, but it'll be a whole conversation around the number of content out there. I'll tell you that much. That'll definitely be a point we touch on today.
So then let's get right into it. Before we
hmm
get into our top 10, let's just get some general thoughts out there on how television has been so far for 2025. Shane, I'll start with you. Give me any general thoughts, any hot takes, anything that you want about the year in television, the year in our Lord television 2025.
I will give a little bit of context because I've definitely shaken up my television watching this year compared to the last two
Ooh.
years. And I'm definitely going to be coming in a lot lower in terms of the amount of like new seasons of television that I watched this year compared to the last two. I've mostly just focused on like shows that came out week to week, and certainly
Mm.
gotten around to some binge content, but like it's a lot easier for me to just like hear back into a show once a week. And
Yeah.
also, if they threw 3 hour long episodes at me to start, I probably just throw them to the watch list because I'm
Mhm.
just like,
No.
no, I'm not.
Yep.
only only select shows like Andor I put up that this year since we got 3 episodes a week for 4 weeks for
They were
that.
at least consistent with that. If you drop 3 episodes at the beginning and then you go one episode week to week, fuck off. Honestly,
Yeah, I
fuck
know.
off.
I have definitely leaned a lot more into the 30-minute framework of television
Oh,
too.
it's so interesting you say that because I will be touching on a very similar trajectory.
Yeah. So I will say there's a few shows like, and I know it's only 4 episodes. I haven't watched Adolescence yet, and there's a few
Neither,
other
yeah.
shows that are big shows that I haven't watched. And honestly, I've leaned a little bit more into laughter. To be frank, I could use some more for
Well,
my television content.
for all of us who live in the States, yeah, laughter is good right now because
And
otherwise all we're gonna do is cry.
between macro world crap to my own micro level of just where I work stuff. So
Hmm.
just general things. I'm like, I've enjoyed laughter. And like, case in point, like I spent probably a lot shorter than it probably should have taken for me to binge all of How I Met Your Mother this year, but I did. So like
I feel
I
like
spent
that's laughter until the end because I still am angry about how that show ended.
Uh-oh, Shane's got a
I'm not
take.
gonna well no, I'm not gonna talk about that today because we're
Okay.
talking about new stuff, but
Okay.
I certainly have some thoughts about that. But
Oh.
I've just shifted around a bit. But like the shows that I've watched, I've liked a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that I've watched this year. And I'm sad about a few of them ending,
Yep.
which one of them I'm particularly sad about, but we'll talk about that, especially as I get towards the top of my list. No, I think it's been a strong year of television
Mm,
consistently, and I do have some gripes with especially network television at this point
Mm.
because their structure of how they release episodes for things has become completely unhinged. And I'm so mad at Fox for their animated shows because how did we just finish the new season of Bob's Burgers this week when the new one comes out in a month?
that
What are you
is
doing?
that is a great question right
So
there.
I think network television has, instead of strengthening in its opposition to streaming, has completely lost its mind and doesn't know how to structure how to release shows anymore. Overall, I think we're still in a very strong place for television. It's just also I'm starting to realize, and I'm sure Mike and Alice realize this more than I do, it's overwhelming the amount of content that we get television wise at this point because all these streaming services. It's just I simply cannot. I have completely stopped watching documentary series that have anything to do with crime because there's like 50 of them that come out a week and I
Oh
just
my
simply
God. I
cannot.
know.
I
Yep.
simply cannot. But no, those are my general thoughts on my television watching experience this year.
Yeah.
I'm programmed. My television watching and then my perspective of how television's going this year.
Alice?
Yeah, it's so it's yeah, I very much agree with you because I also there's a lot of titles that I'll talk about when we talk about like what we're looking forward to where it's like so many of them it's like they've been out. I just don't have the energy or the like time to watch them because I know they're going to be like a lot. So adolescence is a big one, right? Where I'm like, oh, I know it's going to be good. The idea of starting that or I'll touch on them later, but I have also been where comedy is something I've been looking towards, particularly 30-minute-ish comedy. So I will talk on some of those. But you know what else I've been really enjoying the last few months in particular? The procedural, whether it be a police procedural or a medical procedural. And
Hmm.
like because there is something about, and that's probably in line with what we were saying around like the world being on fire. It's so nice to just see things be solved. Like, I have quite a few like crime procedurals and then medical shows on my list because it's just really calming to watch those. And I will, when I talk about one of the big ones on my list, the way I started it, I have a very interesting way of having started it because I knew it would calm me more, which makes no sense when you know what it is. And I think it is just because, like, watching murder be solved in, like, and especially the ones like High Potential, which I caught up on, and I'm very excited for that to have the season 2 coming out, or like all those sort of I'm just like, it has a very, very light actual plot that runs through it, but I'm just watching murders be solved every day, or like, I'm just watching thing, and it's just so nice. So every now and again, I'm like, all right. I'll put on one of the big hitters and I know I'm going to enjoy it. But to Shane's point, it is overwhelming until I think a few weeks ago where I decided to actually like basically ignore all as much other forms of content as I can. I had on my, because I have an app obviously that tracks all the episodes of TV that I want to watch. And that was like bordering on 400 at all times. And it was just so overwhelming to scroll. And like, to be fair, I'd say a good 100 of those are television shows that I'm currently watching with my partner, but that's like a whole thing every time because he's not one of us, it's like you sit him down, you get 1, 2 episodes at most. So that takes time. But even then, like, I was just like, oh my God. And so many of them are these really heavy, dramatic, like really intense 50, 60, if not more episode television. And you're just like, oh, it's Sunday, it's 9 o'clock. I just want to laugh. And so, yeah, I've also, where I haven't been watching procedurals, comedies that have been around the 30-minute mark have been my saving grace. I've got a couple of those on my list because they have just been delightful to
Mhm.
puncture through the crap going on in the world and just be like, look at this. Sometimes there's light. And it's so funny how normally it's like, oh, I'm just watching this because it's good, and oh, this is interesting, and oh, this is on trend. And it's like there's been so much like actual use of television for
Mhm.
escapism, particularly because, to go back to that point, it's so overwhelming. There is so much. Like, we in Australia this year, in the last couple months, we got Max. So
Ooh.
previously we didn't have we had the shows that were available on Max, but they were basically spread between a few different streaming services, particularly one we have called Foxtel. And so that's now, like, now we just have Max. So we actually just fully, and it's been like, oh, look at all these shows all of a sudden making their way into one single app. But it's just another streaming service I'm paying for, and it has been so annoying. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm like, I don't actually think I want to sit down and figure out how much I'm paying per month on average for all these streaming
Oh,
services, because I think I'd cry. And
yeah.
and what's even worse is that I still am somehow not getting access to every single. There are still shows I want to watch that I can't access because I'd have to pay for like some other really niche service that only does this specific kind of show. And I'm just like, no, I don't care. I refuse. Like, this is ridiculous. And so I don't know what needs to happen. I keep every now and again, I keep really thinking back to the old days with free to air television where you used to like be like, I have this on Monday nights, Tuesday night, whatever, and then that's the time you had to just pick, and then you could record the other episodes, or half the time you would just wait for it to be available at the video store, and then you'd go and rent it and just watch it all at once because you wouldn't have the option. And I'm like,
Mhm.
man, all that time I must have had because now I'm just trying to catch up. So, yeah, it is getting to the point. I'm just like, I don't know if a streaming bubble can exist, but I feel like we're very nearly reaching a peak, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I largely agree with both of you. On the television front, particularly the first, I would say, quarter and a half or so, I thought television was having a better year than movies because
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot of good movies, but there was a lot of great
Mm,
television. It wasn't
mm.
until like later on this summer where it's like, or I feel like the
July.
July, and I feel like Sinners was like the one
Mm,
exception where it's like,
mm.
oh, okay, this is legit great. And Shane, I'm sure you're just like there's a lot of other random movies that have come out that you're like, well, it's because you didn't catch this or it hasn't been
Yeah.
released yet. But I feel like television, particularly the first half of the year, was great. The summer lull has been definitely there when it comes to
Mm,
certain television shows that have come out the summer that was hoping would be better, but it
yeah.
wasn't. And it is what it is. That is the crapshoot when it comes to television. But largely this year, I've been pretty happy so far with how television has been going. I have to take Netflix to task for two reasons. One, well, actually, one reason I'm taking them to task is for a good reason. I think Netflix is crushing it this year.
Yeah.
They've released a lot of their great shows this
Yeah.
year. For them to release Cobra Kai, like to finish up Cobra Kai, to have Wednesday come out, they have Stranger Things, and then God, what was the other big one that they
There was You that finished up, Squid Game finished
Squid
up.
Game. That's even
Yeah.
even though the Squid Game, it's not going to show up on my top 10 list at all, but it's acknowledging that Squid Game did come out and it's still crushing it. And let's not forget they also have K-pop Demon Hunter that is just absolutely
Oh,
crushing it right now, and rightfully so.
yes.
So there's that. I've enjoyed a lot of television. I'm kind of in the same boat as you both. I'm looking at my list. I'm like, man, There's a lot more procedurals on here. There's a lot more comedy on here than I'm used to. There's a couple services that are conspicuously absent from my list. Like I don't
Yeah.
have that much from HBO Max this year
Mm,
because HBO Max hasn't had a lot come out that's worth mentioning. Like they've wrapped up a couple of seasons, but nothing that's been kind of out there. And then FX has also kind of had a quiet year so far. And hopefully second half of the year they'll have more come out. But Netflix by far has been crushing it
oh
this
yeah.
year, which I'm happy about. And then the other thing, I'm not going to harp too much on this. The state of television, particularly in the States, is in a very delicate position right now,
Yeah.
and that is very concerning. We'll just leave it at that because
Yeah.
I don't want to harp too much on that, but yeah,
You talk about
so
a certain Christopher Columbus thing that's come out recently. Yeah.
but does anyone else have any other like streamers or anything that's like, wow, this was
Yeah.
they're crushing it, or it's like, oh,
I want to
what are
jump
we
off.
doing?
I want to jump off your thought to Netflix because I was like, okay, you asked us the question to like think about it, and I was like, I'll do my top 10 and then I'll figure out where all my 10 come from, and then that'll help me. And I was shocked because Netflix has never been one I've shouted out when we've been doing this because they have pissed me off so much.
Hmm.
And like, and I think that's the thing. It's like, so yes, they show up a lot on my list and they will continue to because considering what's also yet to come out throughout the year, like I'd be shocked, or not just to come out for me to catch up on. I'd be shocked if they don't continue to have quite a good reign. But I am annoyed at them at the same level because of the two reasons that I believe we've already talked about it in previous years ad nauseum. Number one, they're the way they cancel certain shows before they even have a chance to like do anything. So I finally, in the last couple months, caught up on Chaos. It took me so long.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Part of the reason being because I knew it got cancelled. So I'm like,
What's the
what?
point? Yeah.
How good could it be? Well, I finally decided to watch it, and it was so good, and I'm so angry. I'm
Hmm.
so angry because it was really well made and ended really interestingly, and I'm desperate for a season two. And then I went online and it was literally like because it was in the top 10, it did all the right things according to an audience perspective, but it still got cancelled, probably because they thought it didn't, maybe it didn't stay at number one for long enough or whatever. I honestly don't know how they make half their decisions, to be honest. It was probably an expensive show too because of the like cast or whatever, but like they shouldn't have commissioned it in the first place then. But that was a great show that was imaginative, that honestly could have really built an amazing fan. But that really angered me. And the other thing that's continuing to anger me, and I will touch on later with what we're looking forward to, which is the half seasons.
Oh, that was my other
There's
point. So good
they are
call.
so why? And what's more, it's like, for example, I know that they're only now like filming the second half of like Wednesday or something because people are like, oh my God, they're on set. I'm like, what do you mean they're on set? The show's out. Like, and the next half's meant to come out in like less than a month, and they're on set probably doing, reshoots or whatever. But like, what do you I'm just like, I don't like this. I really don't. And we know it's gonna happen again with It's not just gonna happen, it's been confirmed to be happening
Yeah.
in like a really intense way with Stranger Things. And I am really, really disliking how this is just a thing now that they're going to do with all their big ticket shows. Because I am sitting there, and first of all, what happens is if you choose not to watch the first half because you're like, I'm just going to wait for the second half, and then I will enjoy it all at once as I'm supposed to and not be annoyed having watched half of it and then wait over a month for the second half. But then what happens is you get spoiled. I can't go on social media without getting edit after edit after edit. And then I'm like, well, I kind of know what happens now.
Right.
And number two, like, I feel like, especially because of the binge culture that Netflix created,
Hmm.
you binge it. A month later, it comes out. You don't remember what happened.
No, God, no.
And
Because
it's just so they've that's so it's like Netflix are hitting it because I will also say some of their big hitters are wrapping up things that have literally kept them as a tentpole for years. So they've had like these are big moments, it's a big year for them, but they are annoying me just as much.
yeah, I agree with that. Go ahead, Shane.
I specifically waited until the third part of Cobra Kai came out to watch any of Cobra Kai because I'm like, I'm not putting up with this nonsense for 3 parts
Three
Yeah,
spread
part,
over 8 months or
three
whatever the heck it was. It's
like
yeah.
ridiculous.
I love
Especially
Cobra.
when there's years in between seasons. Like with Wednesday, it was 2 years, and everyone's like, it took you 2 years to make 8 episodes that you're splitting in two anyway. Like,
Hmm.
what are you
Or
doing?
apparently they didn't. They
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Apparently, they didn't even do that.
It's interesting because I look at my top 10 list and specifically my top five, and 3 out of 5 of them are still from HBO Max.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I only have one show from Netflix on my top 10 actually, which is interesting. And like I mentioned, I still watch a lot of network television too, at
Mm.
least like the 30-minute shows and stuff like that, but there's Netflix is, and to my point, I don't go straight to binge watching shows, so Netflix is kind of in my like back seat because I don't pay attention to when they drop a show as quickly because
Mm.
it comes out in a binge format, which that's my own personal choice, and that's probably why I don't have more Netflix shows on my list. Like, I think HBO Max has had a very high and low year.
Mm.
Hmm.
As like, I don't know how if either of you have been watching and just like that.
No.
I
No,
I
I'm
had
so
no,
glad it's
no, I
over.
pass.
saw I had
Pass. I'm
no
good.
interest in even looking at that show. And with all the drama around it, I'm like very thankful I didn't.
I don't know what I don't know why that was one of the shows that I was watching every week for the last 12 weeks
We've
because like
we've all
it's
got a show like that. It's
Yeah.
like, why am I watching this? Like, what is
two
Yeah.
happening
thirds
right
of
now?
them are insufferable.
Mm.
Insufferable. Charlotte and Miranda are terrible.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like Harry and some of the side friends were like the only reasons why I was watching this show still. And just that's very far down my list, to be perfectly
Mm-hmm.
honest. But like Apple obviously is constantly releasing shows,
Yeah.
and they put out a lot of great stuff. Obviously, like the studio, I'm sure we'll talk about, really grabbed a lot of attention this year. And I even like it's a lot of like the random stuff in terms of like Peacock might not put out a lot of shows, but the couple that I did watch of theirs I really liked.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And which is so weird. I'm like, what's Peacock even do? Especially because they're losing WWE
Yeah.
after this year to ESPN. So honestly, 99% of the time I watch Peacock is because of wrestling.
Like I was like SNL and like, that sort of like comedies and stuff.
Well, I
We
guess
don't
it's
have
the
Peacock here, so I can't attest to that.
well, what's worse is Resident Alien. That has
We will
been
talk
so
about that.
frustrating because it should be available on Peacock the next morning because it's a sci-fi show owned by Comcast. But like it wouldn't pop up on a reasonable time the next day, so I had to watch it with my Hulu Live TV with all the ads. And I'm like,
Oh, ads. Ew.
when the amount of money that I pay on streaming services
Yeah.
for ad versions
I
of these
Yeah.
know.
streaming
Yeah.
services, I honestly started watching it live on my Hulu
Yeah.
Live TV on Friday night, to be perfectly honest, because
Yeah.
I'm particularly sad about that one.
Yeah.
And it just also realized that most of the shows I've watched with my wife this year were catch up. Like I finally watched Fallout, finally caught up
Mm.
on like Hit Monkey season 2 and Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all those things that came out 23, 24.
Mm.
Now we're watching Twin Peaks. So like those kinds of things, it's like my priorities have changed a lot with what I'm watching, but I think Netflix is going to be in a bad spot after this year. Like,
Yeah.
Unless they
Well,
have a
that's
couple, unless they
coming
have
at
a
like a
couple of
couple big
hits.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so far I'm not sure where any of those
what they
hits are
are.
coming from right
Like,
now.
they'll still have Wednesday, I guess. But,
Well,
like,
Maybe we'll
maybe
see
like
because
yeah,
because
Jenna Ortega
yeah, I
is
was
like
about to.
I feel like her schedule would be part of the reason why it took so long to make. And then if they're I don't know, like I mean my third thing in general with TV is also I'm just like I really think we should just go back to every year and new season. If you're a show that's on TV, you should be able to, within the next calendar year, deliver
Figure
the
it
next
out.
season.
Figure it
Yeah.
out.
It doesn't have to
I
be exactly 1 year, but it has to be within the next calendar year, because why is it that I'm getting shocked when I'm like, oh, that's already filming? Wow. Like, we're going to get that so early. And then sometimes
Yeah.
I'll finish a show and I'm like, that was a great season. I don't know when I'm going to see the next episode. It'll probably be 3 years from now. Like,
We're going to talk about that with The Last of Us because I have some very strong feelings about having to wait until when the hell we're going to get that. And Alice, you
yeah.
brought up an interesting point about Jenna Ortega because I think that's a root of one of the biggest issues with television is that
Yep.
they're trying to get too many movie stars to come in and headline shows,
And then they
and
don't
then they have
sign
to
him for
wait.
enough seasons.
Well, then they have to wait
Mhm.
until
Yeah.
they're available. I think that everybody there's been a lot of positives about the shift into prestige television and getting big
Mm.
names on television. But the biggest issue is you like you have to deal with the same thing that like they're balancing films, most of them.
Yep.
And some of them are doing Broadway and
Yep.
stuff like that too. And balancing all those things because there was a reason they were able to work like clockwork is like you had television people.
Yep.
Like case in point, Ted Danson still
Yep.
is a television guy. Like,
Mhm.
what movies can you name that Ted Danson's been in?
He's
All
been in some
time.
Oh.
great TV, including Man on the Inside, which I'm so excited for the next season of.
Which I'm watching right now with my wife, which
Yeah.
might take longer because it's bringing up a lot of her feelings about her grandparents who've died in
Oh
the past
yeah,
5
that's not
years
going to
or
get
so.
easier, just so you
No,
know.
so like she was like crying after the first episode. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, same, but that's not even the
yeah,
sad. Like, there's a properly sad episode, and I was like, I
Oh
was doing my
my.
laundry and I was just crying. So I was
so like
like,
Ted Danson has
yeah,
done amazing shows for decades but he's a TV guy. So like
yeah.
they came out, he's doing a television
I
show.
would say the same with like even a similar kind of actor. You know, Kristen Bell has done movies, but she's definitely still a TV person, and that's
Yeah.
why we're getting a Nobody Wants This within the year because
Mhm.
Adrian Brody, not Adrian Brody, God, Adam Brody rather. God, not Adrian Brody. Adam Brody and Kristen Bell are TV people, and they have just finished the show. Show did well. Got a second season. They filmed it, and we're getting it again in a couple of
There you go.
months. Like, but then yeah, and then you have these, and but I will say there are some where it's like, so Running Point. Kate Hudson's like a movie person, but I guess maybe she's like fallen out of the typical spotlight of like being that giant A-lister. And so that's getting it. Like they're currently filming the second season now, so we're probably going to get that, you know, end of the year, start of next. And that's going to be within the year as well, which is like really good and surprising. And so I'm just like, Netflix and all these streamers, you must have good lawyers, right? If they won't sign a multi-season deal that makes them be in studio by X date, find another star. If it's a
Mhm.
new show, people won't be attached unless they've seen it. So if the show doesn't exist, like you would find someone who would sign what you needed to. And it's honestly my biggest thing because I'm just like it's the same with, you know, with the Disney like superhero, the Marvel shows where I'm just like Moon Knight was amazing. Will we ever get a season two? Well, Oscar Isaac specifically only signed one season of television, which was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And like, same with, you know, there are some amazing shows. And I was like, well, I'll probably never see them again because they only signed everyone for one season. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Mhm.
anyway, I
I
could go on
hope
about this for a while, but it's very annoying to me.
well the last thing I'll add about that is my hope specifically with Disney and their
Yeah.
Star Wars and Marvel shows, I'm hoping they learn their lesson and are
Yeah.
changing that with Daredevil because we're supposed to at least get another season. But also if you think about it, Charlie Cox isn't doing anything else
Yeah.
besides being Daredevil. And so like we're supposed to get Daredevil Born Again season 2 within the year, which is
Mhm.
exciting. Instead of
Mm.
like, wow, I did really love Moon Knight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
Moon Knight?
Yeah.
It's like, will he be in Doomsday? I don't know, but I don't feel like talking about that for the next 18 months until that damn movie comes out.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's, to be honest, that's just a Marvel thing in general, where it's like
Yeah.
they started off doing the right thing. They found a bunch of B and C and D list actors put them as the main character and made them like AAA list actors. But now they're like starting with the A-list. I'm like, what do you cast people that you're like, oh yeah, and then make them big. Like that's
Hmm.
what you
Yeah.
did in the first place and it worked. And that's the same with TV now because TV is not like, I remember back in the day when it was like Jennifer Aniston's one of the few people who was able to make it from TV to the movies, and it was like this whole
Did
thing.
did she though? Did she?
Well, she did, and then she
No.
bounced back.
Yeah, right. No, no,
Yeah,
no.
because she was
I
like,
get what you.
Morning
let's be
show.
honest, job security and like if I was an actor, I'm like, one of them gives me like job security and also, let's be honest, the same amount of pay. Like I feel like I would be like, yeah, I'll take a giant prestige show on Apple TV.
Hmm.
But like I remember that was always a conversation. It's like of the
Yeah.
Friends cast, she's the one who was able to make the big blah 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 blah. And now it's like, it's it who cares? It's the same level of like everything,
Hmm.
pay and notoriety and fandom and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't really matter in terms of prestige. So I just am, and I think that it is also part of it is the frustration with there is so much that you forget. Like I literally forget that some of these shows exist until I'm on my app and it's like, this is coming out. And I'm like, whoa, I just assumed we'd never see that again. Like we talked about Twisted Metal on your on your show, Shane, because I was like, oh, I just assumed that was going to be cancelled and like we'd never ever see it again. Like it was just like
Yeah.
exactly that kind of show.
Well, because it's interesting because I feel like there are certain shows out there that it's probably not that hard to film them, considering that it's probably
Yep.
not like VFX heavy or, anything like that. So I'm looking at like The Bear, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The Bear, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. And all of those people have blown up since The
Yep.
Bear has come out. So I don't understand how The Bear can do it in short form, but we need like a couple years in between Wednesday for four-ish episodes, and
Yep.
then they're just
Another
wrapping up.
month.
So, because also that with Wednesday, they signed Lady Gaga, which makes sense for
Yeah.
the atmosphere of the show. But Lady Gaga is huge, so
Yep.
fitting her into the schedule, I'm sure, is very, very tricky. And this was mentioned earlier about how Netflix is doing their part one and part two. With Squid Game, I don't understand how Squid Game was not season two, part two, yet
No.
Cobra Kai was
Yeah.
season three, part one, part two, part three. I don't understand that mentality. And I'd like to think that Netflix did learn a little bit from that Cobra Kai splitting that up and having such a large gap in between all of those seasons because they're shortening the gap between like Stranger Things is coming out like I hate that it's coming out on, not just like a random Friday or anything
I
like
know.
that, but like American Thanksgiving. It's
Yeah.
coming out on Christmas. So
Can
now
you imagine? Can you imagine being like, sorry guys, I'm just gonna
like
go sit down and watch
well,
four probably feature-length episodes of Stranger Things.
Well, do you remember when that Beatles thing came out from Disney Plus for a holiday and it was 9 hours of content? And I'm like, I remember that was Thanksgiving, wasn't it? If
I
I
think
remember
so. I think
correctly.
so.
That long weekend was a long weekend watching a lot of the Beatles bickering and like it was fascinating for sure. But like I don't love the Beatles that much.
Yeah.
And also like that all just dropping like that, like they were 2+ hour episodes each dropping once a day for like a whole entire weekend.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep going back to this. I am a big proponent of once a week is perfectly
Yep.
fine for TV. Bring me back, keep me interested.
Yep.
Hmm.
Also because some of these shows are so heavy. We're talking about the general like content general. It's like they're heavy, they're big, like, ugh. And so once a week I'm like, okay, I only need to like I can walk away. But binging some like the idea of binging some of these shows, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be such a even if it's not an emotional toll, it's a mental toll. So like a show that I will get to is Sandman, but I'm just like, oh, I just it's going to be a whole thing. And I just can't, like, right now. I
But
know it's going to be good. I know I'm going to enjoy it, but I just can't with and I know they did the staggered release, but at that point, I'm already so behind on everything. I'm like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Just like, it's finished anyway, you
this
know?
the Sandman just got edged out on my
Yeah.
top 10. I enjoyed it, but that's a
Yeah.
show where it's like, why did we split, like, you split this up and you did season 1 or season 2 part 1 and part 2. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you did it like a couple weeks apart. Like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? What are we doing? You might as well have just released it week to week and it would have been just fine. Like, what are we doing, Netflix? What
I
are
feel
we
like they're just
doing?
doing a crazy social experiment and they're just going to be like I think that they did the binge thing. That's the thing that put them on the map. But then I think they realized that like with the binge, it also means that you don't really feel the need to watch things immediately unless they're like the biggest thing on television, which like not everything can be the biggest thing on television because the thing is I don't even think you can have a biggest thing on television anymore because there's too much. Like nothing's ever going to be Game of Thrones again. Like nothing's ever going to be where it's like people have watch parties and come over and they talk about it. And, you know, it's just even with I remember last year with The Last of Us, it kind of had that. But I still haven't seen, like, I need to. That's one of the shows I'm watching with my partner, The Last of Us. And we still haven't seen the second season because we're just like, we'll get to it. Because it's literally just like, you know, and especially because, like you said, I know that I don't even know how long it's going to be till the next season. So I'm like, what's the rush? You know,
Yeah.
It'd be
like,
like 3 years.
yeah, literally. So I'm like, what am I? And but then what's
They just
awful
lost their
is
show.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, but then also what's awful is what's the rush? The rush is if it doesn't get the ratings in this arbitrary time because you don't have the time and you're going to get to it eventually, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some shows end up getting cancelled because of that. We saw that with My Lady Jane last year, Chaos. Like it keeps happening where it's like because you just don't have the time, energy, space, whatever it is to binge a freaking show the second it comes out, the stream is like, well, it's not popular. All right, cancel it, even though it ended on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
I just think they should have a rule you shouldn't be allowed to end a show on a cliffhanger if you're not guaranteed a
Tell a
next
complete
season.
story. Yeah, just tell a
Yeah.
complete story
Yeah.
and just go from there.
I
Yeah.
was this close to looking up what happens for the rest of the Last of Us, only because I like having the way that it ends for season
Mm,
two, which
Uh,
I'm pretty sure everybody knows it ends with a cliffhanger,
yeah.
is like, can I wait 3 years to find out what happens in this moment? Like, do
yeah.
I
Yep.
want to wait 3 years
Do you
knowing that
No.
I
want
could just look up a run? I could look up a playthrough of the game.
Yeah.
you could probably play both video games multiple times and you'll probably get the answers quicker than you will get
Yep.
ostensibly, which is a season 2 part 2 kind of.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
if
that's the thing. Yeah.
but because even though the story is going to shift a little bit, yeah, it is pretty much a continuation of the season. But what was I about to say? I forgot. Never mind. Whatever.
Well,
Yes.
one last point is television is turning into what unfortunately has happened to movies too. Is
Yeah.
that I was just having this conversation with somebody interviewing them for my Lost in the Wasteland show, and they brought up the original Star Wars, where like that was their first thing that they remember going to see 9 times in a theater when they were a small
Mm-hmm.
child. And like that last like Star Wars was in theaters for a year and
Yeah.
people was like still going and going, and you can't do stuff like that because like Superman came out. This was great. Oh, wait a minute. I got Fantastic Four coming out,
Yep.
and then like it's on to the next thing.
Oh,
And
I don't rewatch I can't remember the last time I rewatched something. Like I used to rewatch shows over and over and over. I grew up cycling Buffy and Charmed and Angel. Like I literally just cycled those shows, you know, as a teenager. Didn't get sick of it, loved it, grew up, was fundamental to my being. I can't tell you the last time I sat down and rewatched a season of television in recent history. Like it's just not a thing anymore.
I can't, well, the I go through little spurts where
Yeah.
I can't watch an entire season, but I'll watch a clip or an episode that got me good. And that's
Yeah.
about it. And I was just talking about this with someone recently because we were talking about Stranger Things and we were like, am I gonna have time to rewatch the previous season? Because it's been so long, I don't remember what happened.
No, also the
answer is
episodes
no.
are so long.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to start now. Like,
I probably have to start way earlier because
yeah,
there's some shows that are going on right now that I'm like, I kind of want to invest in them because they're
yep.
going week to week. And it's like, God damn it, why are we doing like, I wish that there was some sense of consistency, but there's not. And it
Nope.
is what it is because Amazon is wildly all over the place. Some of their
Oh,
shows are week to week. They're more popular ones. Some of them dropped all at once. And the ones that dropped all at once, like, dude, you should have done this week to week. And to your point as well, like, I'm concerned with because the Wheel of Time got canceled
yep.
after 3 seasons.
Another show that I need to get to it, but I'm like, well, it got canceled. I'll get to it when
No,
I
you
get to it.
don't.
It's not if you're a fan of fantasy, this like the Wheel of Time is pretty good. But
Yeah,
but
that which
then
is what I am.
yeah, but then again,
Yeah.
the execution of it overall wasn't that great. And the problem is also you're gonna get invested in it, and then it's like, oh, it's canceled then.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is
the other issue is that there is very little fantasy out there. So I'm just like, oh, look at some.
That is
I'll have a
true.
little,
Mhm.
I'll have a little tiny little taste because it's
well
all friggin' dystopias and stuff now,
well
which
it's
is
all
more depressing because I'm like, we live in one. I want to watch magic.
well, and then speaking of magic, HBO announced that Harry Potter is gonna last 10
Don't.
years. I'm like, will it?
I don't think
Will it? Will it?
I'll believe it when they get to the seventh season because I don't know. I think they are severely overrating the audience that they will have because like I think they think that millennials and stuff are going to make their kids watch it, but I think they don't understand that millennials also have a pretty intensive like moral compass and more importantly they have the movies which are still so incredibly watchable and exceptionally good quality. And I will say this. I looked at that picture of Nick Frost as Hagrid and I was like, it looks like someone in a Hagrid costume. Like it looks like Hagrid's son. That's not Hagrid. And I just feel like, I'm just like, I feel really bad for these kids that have signed their soul away to this show because I'm like, you guys that was a bad career choice. Like, and all these, I
Well,
just, there if you're going to do a Harry Potter show, there are so many stories that Harry Potter audiences have been begging for years about the Marauders, about the founders. You could do a Hogwarts legacy thing if you wanted because the story there is quite good.
but
And
no,
people would
we're just rehashing the
which
same old
again,
shit.
I guarantee you, I don't see it getting 10 years because it's not going to evoke the same level because Gen Z and Gen Alpha don't care about Harry Potter. They've got their own thing, especially now that Percy Jackson is going to be like coming out at the same rate. Because I think they were like, oh dear, and they're filming like immediately back to back season 3 and stuff. And there's other shows and other stories that they care about. Millennials are going to feel really, really loyal to the movies because, and then again, it's going to be like, all right, you'll watch season 1, and then you'll be like, I'm just going to go
Look,
watch all the
I
movies
could have
now
watched all
because
the movies.
yes. Anyway,
Have
I
my
could go
own
on
Harry
about that
Potter
for a
weekend.
while. Yeah,
Alice, just for purely sociological reasons, what was your
yeah.
favorite Harry Potter movie?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So number 3 is the best one. It is objectively the best Harry Potter film, but I really enjoy the last one. Like it's just, and I think that's a lot of like, I think it's really good, but also it's like, oh, there's nothing will ever capture the moment of watching that again, and I feel it every time I rewatch that movie. But number 3 is the best one.
Vindication. Okay, thank you. So, but the other concern with Harry Potter as well is it's the Dumbledore thing as well. John Lithgow's really old, and
Yeah, I
like,
know.
and
You're doing it again.
he's also American. So
He's American and he's old. And oh, I mean, no. Forget all of that. Forget all of that. So they've tried to go like, modern and they've race bent one character, one Snape, which I don't care, like, whatever, at this point, and especially when there's already an established race bent character, they could have just made Hermione, they could have just done that to Hermione because on stage, they did that. People have gotten used to it now. It's fine. Making Snape someone of color is genuinely so icky because of the character he is. First of all, everybody knows the Death Eaters are literally just like the Nazis, right? So that's already icky. Number two, that makes immediately the Marauders, as in James Potter, Sirius Black, and all like
And make
Lupin,
them a
and also
bunch
Peter
of
Pettigrew,
racist assholes.
really racist because, quote from the book, everybody hated him because of how he looked, including Harry, who immediately takes a dislike to Snape because he looks off. And that's the whole point, is that Snape looks, everybody doesn't like how he looks. And so then that's why everyone assumes he's evil. And then it turns out that he's actually been like an inside man the whole time. But it's like making him the only person of color in your adult cast, and not to mention of the main characters. Like, yes, you have some, you know, people of color throughout the cast, but like you are making all the Marauders like just awful. Like, they're already terrible, but you're making them racist. Then you're making Harry racist, and you're gonna just make this hot. And then what? Lily didn't pick him because he was of color. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the amount of things that they have created by making this one character, deciding to race bend that one is just absolutely insane to me, to a point where I'm like, this is all, especially if they're like, oh, no, we'll, you know, it's not going to be overt. I'm like, no, it's not. Instead, everyone's going to unconsciously pick up on it, which is worse. Like, anyway,
because
you've touched
also
on a special interest.
well, because we all know that certain fandoms out there have
Yeah.
treated their cast members of color with the
Yes.
utmost respect, right?
Oh,
You know,
yep.
looking at you, Star Wars, looking at you, like Marvel.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Well, and also
I
let's not forget that this whole show being created is based on like the author's general hatred for a type of people. Like, the only reason she's making the show is because all the actors from the originals are like, we don't agree or support her. And she's like, fine, I'll make a new one. And I'm like, and all the profits are going to go to like a really awful organization. Like, it's literally starting off from a place of hate.
yeah.
And so and I just know that the second I hear whatever this new theme song is going to be, and it's going to be kind of off key or whatever, I'm going to be like, I hate this. And I'm going to pull out my Blu-ray because it's a Blu-ray. So it's fine. I paid for it years ago, and I'll put it in and I'll be like, this is better.
This is comforting.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because like I can already see they released a picture of Harry Potter, and like the scar, I think they've gone with the like, oh, it's a lightning scar. Like, they've actually made it look like a lightning bolt, like from nature. And I'm like, well, that completely defeats the purpose. It's not actually meant to be light. Did you guys read the books? Because the reason it's a quote unquote lightning scar is because that's the motion you make with the wand for the killing curse, which is the curse that Harry survives. So it's not actually meant to be lightning. Final thing, I saw a quote from the showrunner the other day that was like, we're going to make this more realistic and grounded. Because that's what I'm looking for when I'm watching or reading Harry Potter, is realism and grounding, not whimsy and magic. Like, I don't know. I don't think this is going to be on my top 10 anytime ever. So don't worry about that.
We don't need to Nolanify Harry Potter because it didn't need to be Nolanified. Like like Batman is a perfect thing to make more grounded. Like I
Yep.
don't need a like hyper
A
realistic.
gritty and realistic Harry Potter. Nobody's watching or reading Harry Potter to be like, oh, I wish this was more realistic. The whole point of those stories is escapism. It's literally
Well,
like, I wish I was a witch or wizard, and good versus evil, and good triumphs. It's that simple. It's for kids, guys. I love it, but it is a story for kids. Like,
yeah,
anyway.
we're
So
about
we'll
to.
see. I'm sure we'll talk about that when the next season comes out, when the first season or whatever comes out.
My thoughts on Warner Brothers is I don't trust them with anything anymore. Except now they're like, we're going to be focusing on original content after, Sinners made a bunch of money and
Yeah.
Weapons. But it's like, but then you're rehashing Harry Potter for HBO Max, and
Yeah.
you're going to make a movie about one paragraph from Fellowship of the Ring or whatever.
Oh my
For
God,
this
don't
for
even
Gollum
with the
thing. And I'm
Gollum
like,
movie.
I don't trust Warner Brothers, and now apparently Paramount wants to buy them. So I don't know.
Well,
So we'll
for
see.
for
I'm not excited about this Harry Potter show. I grew up
Mm-mm.
reading the books. I have all the
Yep.
movies, which I think are
hmm
all like
All of them
all good
are.
movies,
All
and
of
I
them
They
are
are
love
all
good.
excellent films. They're all excellent films. All of
and
them.
I'm just like, I don't want to hear any more about this Harry Potter series. I will
I'm still gonna watch it,
inevitably
but
watch it
yeah.
on Sunday nights on HBO because that's probably where it's going to wind up.
Hmm.
But like, I that's a bold prediction that it's going to get 10
I
seasons.
I will be shocked if it gets a season 3. I will be shocked.
I will be shocked as well because I think it's going to be wildly expensive. I think it's going
hmm
to be because
You know what they
HBO has a tendency to glom onto something and hope that it just sticks.
Yep.
Alice, you mentioned like Game of Thrones, like they're trying to recreate Game of Thrones with House of the Dragon.
No, don't
Uh,
even talk to me
and
about
then
how.
and then next year we've got A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms coming out. Like
Mm,
I worry, like I'm a little worried that like Netflix is going to do what HBO did to Game of Thrones with K-pop Demon Hunter. Like they're going to
mm.
wring every last ounce of content out there before they're like, yeah, we're unfortunately going to run this into the ground to the point where no one's gonna like this anymore. And that
Just make a
sucks.
trilogy. Just that's what they should do. Just make a trilogy and then just move on to the next thing. It's fine to move on to the next thing. Like you
No,
don't have to.
no, we can't move on to anything because even if something is good and successful, you can't stop at just a trilogy of things. You need to have a TV show spin-off. You need to have multiple movie spin-offs. You need
Mm-hmm.
a comic book. You need, if it's animated, you need a live action
Live action. Yeah. Well, that's been
remake.
shot down, thankfully. There were murmurings about a live action, and I think everyone was like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And they were like, we're not doing a live action, we're not doing a live action.
Sorry,
I
sorry,
So
sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
I
yeah.
think I think there's a bigger societal problem in terms of content and
Mm,
commercial art that's at play here because the thing is for every original film that doesn't become a hit or original show that doesn't become a hit, they'll just reinforce the self-fulfilling
hmm
prophecy of like, well, this is why we focus on all of these
Yeah.
franchises and keep trying to make these things because, you know, this didn't become a hit. This didn't become a hit. They focus on the Lilo and Stitches making $1 billion,
Mm.
Minecraft making almost $1 billion instead of well, everybody talking about F1 being like an original movie when it's
It's based
literally
on
based off of a
F1
brand.
racing.
The title is literally the logo of the sport. It's not even a
Yeah.
title, it's a
I
logo.
got I got emails from the PR firm. I didn't go to the press screening, so I kind of ignored them to specifically put the trademark symbol in the title anytime we referenced it in writing, as said by Warner Brothers and Formula One, to make sure that we accurately represented the title of the film, which is trademarked F1, the
Yep.
movie.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So them saying like Apple has this huge original hit on their hands. I'm like,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Is
Like
it?
Sinners and Weapons is making money.
Yep.
But
Well,
those are two examples in a sea of,
And they're also of the
properties.
horror genre, which is always the type of movie that does this, where it's like it comes out, it's insanely successful for what it is. And so then people are
And
like,
then they
wow.
turn
And
into a
then,
giant franchise. Keep running them into the ground like
yeah, I know.
every horror
Exactly.
franchise ever. No, it's a
Exactly.
problem. And this is gonna continue to be a thing.
well, it's because with television, it's uniquely positioned to tell more, like way more original stories. But then the issue that you come up with is that, okay, we got a lot of police procedural shows out there, and there's some that follow a
Spin-offs
very
and spin-offs and spin-offs and spin-offs and
hmm
spin-offs.
right, right. So how many Law and Orders have we had? How many Criminal Minds have we
Chicago
had?
PD, Chicago Med, Chicago 911, Chicago Fire Department. Like,
I mean, it's only a matter of time before we get Chicago like railway workers,
yeah, Chicago Park
Chicago River
Rangers.
cleanup,
Yeah.
Chicago, water
M-
patrol,
Meter
Yeah,
maids.
Chicago Neighborhood Watch.
I Shane, I would watch the shit out of a Chicago Meter Maids show, but yeah, it's crazy because there's even with the police and medical procedurals, like I've got a couple on my list. I'm like, these feel different. And
Mm-hmm.
like, are they wildly different from what we normally get out of these shows? No, it's just the writing's better and the
Yep.
storytelling's better and the characters are compelling. That's why I watch some of these shows. So with that in mind, I think it's time to get into our top 10.
Yes.
So we will do this round robin style where well, Shane, you'll start, Alice, and then I'll go next. And then
Mm-hmm.
if we have a show that is higher up on the list, we will punt it until later so that we could talk about it at its highest point. So without further ado, there are going to be like maybe minor-ish spoilers, nothing like too heavy, especially if
Yeah.
somebody here has not seen the show. But the problem with some of these shows as well is that it's been out for a while and like
Yeah.
you want to be mindful and respectful of the people, but also the internet's out there,
Yep.
unfortunately, filled with
This has probably been ruined for you already.
right.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm gonna shake up the order. I'll go first, and then Shane, and then
Okay.
Alice. So my number 10, it's interesting because my number 10 has only had 2 episodes this season, but they're absolutely crushing it right now. And very much in response to what I said earlier about the current state of television, that there's some concern, I wanted to give them a shout out for that because they're fighting back. Because my number 10 is South Park. And
Oh,
South Park
nice.
has been like South Park, they're doing it right.
Yeah.
They signed a $1.5 billion deal with Paramount to pretty much consolidate the show from moving it from Max to everything pretty much on Paramount now. And what do they do after they sign that deal? They scrap most of the stuff that they did for their season, and now all they're doing is going after Trump. They're going after
Yep.
Paramount. They're going after their administration. And I am here for it. These 2 episodes have been phenomenal. Phenomenal. And the fact that South Park is going this hard, like it's not surprising. And the lack
No.
of remorse, I am very concerned that at some point Paramount's going to be like, cut it out. But I know that the guys, they will
I
respond.
reckon they would have had a pretty intensive contract when they drew it up. Like they wouldn't have, like they would have known their plan, and then this isn't their first rodeo, especially after going after powerful people. So I
Mhm.
feel like they would have been like, we
Mm.
just want this clause in there.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm all for what South Park is doing right now, and these only 2 episodes in at time of recording, and this is shaping up to be a pretty epic season of South Park. So
Nice.
I did want to give it a shout out.
They have like their highest ratings in 20 years, and it's wild. And I'm pretty sure Paramount's trying to milk it, which is why they keep punting episodes a
Probably.
week
Mhm.
and stretching this out. Those 2 episodes were unhinged and so hilarious and wild. And
But with
it's,
with South Park, it also's got something to say as well.
yep.
And that
Mhm.
is
Well,
the thing that
and
I appreciate the most about it.
as somebody who's been watching South Park regularly since it came out, it's like it's so funny the discourse around the show right now. People who've been touting South Park for years for taking it to the quote unquote taking it to the libs are now
Yeah.
all getting so
They're all
upset
getting all
because
butthurt about it. Yeah.
it's just like they've lost their edge. They're unfunny now. And just like, no, they're not. They just are
No,
making
They've
they're doing it to you now.
it's never been better. I don't
I'm a
know.
Yep.
Roman Catholic. I've been told that my church is run by a giant interdimensional tarantula. Jesus won a boxing match with Satan because he threw the fight to beat everybody betting. It's like the
Yeah.
stuff that they've said about Christianity. If anybody shouldn't watch the show, it's probably Christians. And it's just like, you know what? This show's hilarious and it's
Yeah.
great. And it still is 27
Oh
seasons
my
in.
God.
So
Yeah.
like a lot of like some of the other animated shows that are on their 20 something 30 something seasons of television.
Yep. pretty much. So, South Park, my number 10. Shane, what is your number 10?
This is probably the most surprising one for me in my top 10, which is the Four Seasons. I really like this show. And
Mm.
this is my only Netflix show in my top 10. And I literally watched this last week.
Me too. I think I watched it literally 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
I
And this
really like the Four
is
Seasons.
this
Yeah.
is drawing upon very famous people,
Hmm.
throwing them
Hmm.
all into this situation. I love the cast. As somebody in a long-term relationship and
Mm.
married, this may like I think I finished one of the episodes, walked into the kitchen, just hugged my wife because like this show really makes you take a step back and really think like, am I keeping up and appreciating my relationship? Because this deals
Yeah.
with a lot of very relatable things in terms of long-term relationships. The care, like I love the cast. The cast is great, and it made me put the film on my watch list because I had no
Mm.
idea this was an Alan Alda film, which also that was great seeing him cameo in one of
Hmm.
the episodes. But
Yeah.
like this had some shocking moments too.
Oh, this had some gut punch moments that were like,
And
shit.
then I saw it's
Mm.
coming back, like they're doing a second season of this.
I
So
know, which I was a bit like sometimes
I think
miniseries
this
can
would have
just
been
be,
fine.
yeah,
Just
like
contained as a miniseries.
like
Yeah.
it can just be a miniseries. Like there's almost a relief to watching a miniseries because you're just like,
Isn't
ah,
it? Is it? Yeah.
yeah, I just,
Well, and I'm
but
assuming this
yeah.
was the movie, and now they're going to try to expand it out. But
I think
I
it
was
was just like it
perfectly,
was super successful, so now they're gonna get a second season, and I'm like, with Coleman Domingo, Tina
We're
Fey, Will Forte, yeah,
we're
I believe
we're
that we'll get
taking
that soon.
we're taking the wrong lesson from this. I don't know. Coleman,
Yeah,
I saw that Running Man trailer and Coleman Domingo as the announcer.
dude.
I'm like, I will
All of
I will
these
go.
people have crazy career, but especially Coleman Domingo. I was shocked he was in this. I was like, "What are you
Mhm.
doing here?
It was
You're
so
like,
good.
so
Oh
you're
man.
very good, and you're at your peak right now.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing on a Netflix show?" Like,
Tina Fey, Will Forte
yeah,
relationship together is that was beautiful bit of casting, and just their dynamic is so interesting, and
yeah,
it really got me. And like I would like to see more of these characters because I really like them, but I think it probably should have just ended where it was. But we take it, and I really love this first season. So there you
yeah.
go.
And at least the episodes are like 30 minutes. So,
And well, and also there's a clear structure to the show as
yeah.
well.
Yes.
Two episodes per season, and
Yep.
yeah, and it's
For natural season, right?
Yeah, yeah,
natural
yeah.
nature. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, good call with that. I'm also very glad that Coleman Domingo got an Emmy nom for this.
Mm,
He was very good. A little surprised it didn't get more, but hey, it is
yeah.
what it is. I'll take it. Alice, what is your number 10?
Okay, so this is I've been watching a lot of procedurals, but like I said, a lot of them were catch up, so they don't technically count as 2025 shows. But also there were odds a lot. So this is one of my procedurals, which is called Bookish. It is like it's just come out, and it's on Max, HBO Max, and it's about you've got Mark Gaddis in it, who is currently in the Fantastic Four movie, which I was like, oh yeah, oh, hello. But he plays a bookstore owner whose name is Book. His name's like Gabriel Book, but obviously, and it's set in post-war London, so just kind of at the end of the 40s. And he is basically like a Sherlock type character who helps the police solve crimes, or strange murders and crimes that kind of come up. So what this is, it's classic British television. It is 6 episodes. Like it's done, and each story actually goes over 2 episodes. So it is, so it's not like one episode, one story. So it kind of has a little bit more of a continuation, but it feels very much like I'm watching like an old school Agatha Christie Poirot. So I would kind of say like a Sherlocky Poirot but Agatha Christie style one, with a good amount of character dynamics in it. Like he's got his wife. There's a bit of this is, they've talked about this quite openly in the promotion I've seen. So there's an element of like a lavender marriage, which like back then was a whole thing. So that's kind of alluded to quite a lot. But then also there's this young man who starts working at the shop, who they kind of take in and who's kind of like the assistant and the fish out of water, like the audience insert sort of character. And it's a really, I binged this in like 2 days because I was literally like, this is just nice. I'm getting the answer to the murder questions at the end of the second episode. There's three of them. It feels very Sherlocky, where it's like, there's a lot of that kind of deduction intelligence behind the solving of the clues. And sometimes watching smart people do smart things, you're just like, oh, that's cool. But also the characters in it are quite whimsical and they're quite lovable. And the stories themselves, because it is set in this like late 40s era, there is something quite nostalgic to it as well, particularly even the way it's shot. It's almost shot like it's on film with this like old school filter over the top, which gives it further credence to that kind of nostalgic feeling. And yeah, it was just like really pleasant watching, even though it's literally about like murder and stuff. But I can strongly recommend. I don't know if it's going to get season 2. It probably will, because I think it worked because it's a British show. I think it's BBC, but HBO Max is showing it overseas and stuff. It'll probably get a season 2, but it's like, it's just a nice little contained, like, you get everything you kind of want and then you can walk off and enjoy yourself.
Nice. I will be sure to add this to the list, the
Mhm.
ever-growing
I
list.
Yeah.
I just added it onto my list. So there you go.
Wonderful.
So my number 9 is Black Mirror, which
Oh,
very, very surprised, because Black Mirror
Mhm.
has had some down seasons lately, which they're still good, but they're just not at
Yeah.
the heights that they were. And I don't think it's
Well, it's
ever going
just
to get
more
back.
like less episodes hit, right? That's
Yeah.
really what it is with Black Mirror. Yeah.
And is it ever going to get back to the way it was? No. And that's okay. But this season, some of these episodes hit, and they hit really hard. And to everyone's point about, the whole movie stars going into to TV and vice versa and everything like that. Like Nikki Glazer did that when she hosted the Golden Globes. Like,
Mm,
hey, like, look, there's TV stars, blah 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 blah, and or there's like, here's the movie stars, and then
yeah.
she announces the same 3 people as TV stars too. But with Black Mirror, like the episode with Paul Giamatti just is spectacular. It's one of the best episodes of television this year, and it just hits so hard on some of the things that just makes it so beloved. So, Black Mirror, I'm never gonna say that it's back, but it is as close to being back as they can make it. And if they could keep up with this level of consistency, then it's going to, continue to engage in such a positive way. Also, Kristen
Milioti, I think.
Milioti.
Yeah.
She's a delight. She's in the final
Mm-hmm.
episode. Between this, The Penguin, I just rewatched Palm Springs. Shane watched How I Met Your Mother. Give her more work, because she's just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely delightful. So Black Mirror, I endorse.
Mm,
Another one I didn't get around to this year
yep.
yet.
I'll
So
get to it. I'll get
Uh,
to it, but that's one in the that's gonna be heavy category.
yeah, yeah. Oh, very, very much so. Shane, you're number 9.
Daredevil Born Again.
I'm in the middle of it.
I feel like it's mostly gotten back to the tone of the Netflix show. It still definitely feels like this is more like MCU feeling than it does 100% as gritty. That show felt, especially from like the filmmaking standpoint. I was really happy to have these characters back. It certainly punches you in the face in that first episode and really gets you
It's
off
it's
balance.
cruel.
It's messed up. And I
Fuck.
appreciate the incorporation of some of the other characters so far, like Frank Castle coming back and how they've used him in this and how they'll continue to use him. I'm really interested how they're going to use him in Spider-Man when he can't like straight like bloody murder
Murder people.
people in that way. Interesting.
I feel like
Um
he's just gonna try to, and then Spider-Man will keep
Spider-Man's
stopping
gonna
him. Yeah.
similar to what happened here, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Yep.
Matt did a very good job
Mhm.
stopping him from brutally murdering people. Vincent D'Onofrio's
S-
amazing,
So good.
still amazing, and his
Very
whole
prevalent character right now.
his whole journey of trying to make New York City safe and
Wow,
just
Shane.
it,
Wow. That was just
That was quite good. Yeah.
chef's kiss to you on that.
some of my friends literally just ask me to do my impression of him sometimes just to make them happy.
Yeah.
But like he's amazing. Charlie Cox is so good in this. I have like I know because I've heard others talk about some of the like one-off episodes of this season, and I really enjoyed all the stories that they did here. And it was an interesting mixture of like a couple episode arc for a story, a
Mm.
one-off story, and then still having overarching one. Where this season went, and I'll keep it very vague because I know Alice, you said you're in the middle of watching it. It opens up a door for a second season to make this an all-out war in New York City, and that anticipation really excites me. And there's a lot of complexities here with these characters that they're playing off of. And I'm interested to see where some of them go and how they fit into this. I
Mhm.
think that, and overall, I feel like it felt like a television show,
Hmm.
unlike 90% of Marvel television shows, which is a
Hmm.
problem.
Yep.
And I was just happy to see all these characters back. And I think
Mm.
they did some really interesting things, set up some interesting characters, and had some real standouts like Michael Gandolfini, right?
Oh,
That's
just
Yeah.
such a smarmy
As
and
soon
so
as you
great.
saw him, you were like, oh, that's why
I,
they cast him.
like
Yeah.
you know exactly how he's going to fit into all of
Yeah.
this. And getting to see the Kingpin do some more unhinged Kingpin violent things to the human body,
Mm.
Yep.
eyes widening for those who are just listening to this, obviously, because this is a podcast. It's some wild stuff. So I was a big fan of this new season.
This just falls outside of my top 10. It's like 15 or so. I did enjoy this. I thought just some of the storylines were really great. Yeah, I fully
Hmm.
endorse. So good call. Alice, you're number nine.
My number nine, going back over to light and fun, is Running Point, which I
I
binged like
loved this show.
that was such a nice breath of fresh air. I was just like, I'm just gonna watch a show about a woman taking over a basketball team. Like that's what I want to do. And I have to say, I think the cast of this show is so good. Like I think that they even like Kate Hudson is really good, but even all the cast around her, like the brothers and having Justin Theroux played the most unhinged, like coke addict and then and then like the new little brother and like having her like a friend and all of them throughout the entire show. It's a really nice kind of dynamic, but then I also really enjoy basketball, so I knew I was going to enjoy it in general because I enjoy the topic it surrounds. And watching, as a woman, it is very nice just watching a show where she's like, we're just going to do this. I will also say I was quite impressed with like Tom Hanks's like weirdo son actually being quite good in this show. Having Chet Hanks be in this and playing like because he's always been like, oh yeah, he is Tom Hanks's kid, isn't he? And you hear all these stories and read all, but in this, he's obviously playing a similar-ish character, but I can see there being like there's already quite a lot of growth that happens in that first season, and I can see him being like a Jamie from Ted Lasso. You know what I mean? Where it's
Mhm.
like by the end he's going to end up being one of the most lovable characters, and
Mhm.
I like it felt like an American Ted Lasso in a way, where it was like it's about a sporting team. Everyone kind of starts in this insane position, but at the like most of the people, at least all the main characters, have a good heart, and we're all just watching them try to do things, and you really want them, and they're underdogs. Like
Mhm.
it's I think it's hitting me in the Ted Lasso, like in the gap that Ted Lasso lives. And I know that we're getting a fourth season. I don't know why, but like they literally ended
I,
it
I,
in
I
an
don't want
ending.
I don't want to talk about Ted Lasso season
Yeah,
four because
we'll talk about that
at
when
some
it comes
point,
out at
um,
some point, I'm sure. But this is fulfilling that need for me right now, where it is that like she's coming in, she's shaking things up for the better, and then there is just enough of like a dastardly corporate to make you be
mhm,
like, oh, what's going to happen next? So
mhm.
I'm so excited for season two. And it's just again, it was so nice and refreshing, and it made me feel really good. And it's funny. Like it's really funny.
It is
I
really
I
funny.
laughed out loud quite a bit too. So yeah.
Good.
I was
Shane.
just gonna say I did already add this to my watch list, but this just made me want to watch the show
Yeah.
a lot
This,
more.
Well,
So
and all the episodes are like 27 minutes, so you'll smash through them. I smashed them in like literally a couple days.
Alice, I too am a huge basketball fan, and this is
Hmm.
pretty much this, the dramatization or the commodification of what happened with the Los Angeles Lakers, pretty
Yeah,
much. And
yeah.
I think the thing that I appreciated about this the most is that it is a sports show through and through, but it's also a
Hmm.
workplace comedy as well
Yep,
because of the way that they treat some of the topics with this. They
yep.
have discussions about there's an episode about a streaming service that is just
Yeah.
fun and hilarious. They've got episodes about like in
Well, like
injured star.
sponsorships and
Yeah,
like yeah, like all of that sort of stuff. And the
but
the trying to edge someone out of their seat and stuff and like yeah,
mhm.
it's great.
Also all of that from like a workplace comedy perspective. What this did with Running Point is what I hoped that the Blockbuster show would do with like
Hmm. I agree.
working at a movie store because I worked at
Yep.
a movie store for a while. I've worked at two different movie stores and I just hope that they would just take to task some of the
Man, that
like
show
interesting.
should still be on television. Like if they had actually done it right, that would have been a huge show. I was so excited for it and I was so disappointed when it came out. I was like, "Oh, it's fine."
It's fine.
Like,
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's fine.
it could have been great,
Yeah.
but here we
Yeah.
are. And it could have I don't know if they would have played their cards right, they could have been something really special, but they didn't. So
Nope.
fuck off Netflix. So Shane, or no, it's mine.
Yeah,
My number eight, another show that 30-minute comedy. I've got Adults from FX.
Oh,
This
I haven't. Yeah, I've heard of that.
I didn't watch it yet.
this I went into the show a little cautious because
Mm,
the IMDb ratings on it weren't great. And then I was like, fuck IMDb. Like they don't know what they're talking about all the time because it's based on user ratings. But
hmm.
so I watched it and was like, man, this group of friends is just they're crazy. They're all fucking crazy, but they're
Mm,
also so lovable because they have moments where it's like, oh, this is really cute. And this is a Gen Alpha show through and through, or Gen Z show through and through.
mm.
And this is gonna make me sound really old, so just go with me. God, I fucking learned a lot from this show, you guys. There's just like, oh, I understand what some of these people are saying now. Thanks. I appreciate it. I've never felt
Hmm.
more old in my entire life. There's something very emasculating about asking your 8-year-old daughter about what is some of the stuff in the Minecraft show or Minecraft movie. But
Yep.
like I learned a lot from adults. I thought the character dynamic was really great. And yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed adults. So
It's also on my
Okay,
watch
that makes
list.
me feel better. That one's one where I've been like, oh, I don't know. So
give
I
it
will add it.
give it 3 episodes and
Yeah,
see
that's what
what
you always are meant to. That's what I always give it
yeah,
a show, unless it really annoys me. But
right.
yeah.
Shane, your number eight.
This is a documentary series I didn't expect to get a second season. It's Light and Magic season 2, which
Mm,
I don't think this is going to get this is not going to get a third season because where this season ends, it's only 3 episodes this season. I think it's just it it hits on a sad place for
mm,
Industrial Light and Magic because it is the downturn and the challenges of you hit the year 2000 and you have all this competition,
mhm,
and it tackles the growth of Weta,
mhm,
and like Weta coming out with Lord of the Rings and just grabbing everybody's attention and that challenge and competition. I particularly love this section of the show when it talks about pirates and Davy Jones and just the amount of challenge it was to, like, they had to make a literal program to run his tentacles because they had to move naturally and randomly,
Mm,
which now I'm like they would use AI for this today. This is
yeah.
where they would use AI for this today. And then the like closing of like the physical practical effects section, which was there was a lot of emotion, honestly, in this second season of Light and Magic because it's a closing of a book. And there just watching these people who you spent the whole first season through all, I think it was 6 episodes of that first season, getting to see them in their element and creating, and now them confronting the world around us has changed. And where's my life going to go from here? And I'm
Mhm.
like, I didn't expect all of this out of like a documentary about special effects, but it's such an
Mm.
interesting thing in how effects are evolving. And these 3 episodes really hit for me. And as a cinephile and just enjoying seeing the movie magic and how it works, that hits too. So this one randomly dropped and I was like, oh, they made more episodes of this. And it was an interesting journey seeing the closing of Light and Magic and how that came to be. So they're like
Mhm.
1 hour episodes, so it's not like a humongous investment either.
You know, damn, this is part of the reason this show I'm always like, oh no, because now I'm gonna add a bunch of stuff to my list. Like I don't have enough on there already.
Nice. Alice, your number 8.
My number 8 is one you guys have already heard about, but for the audience, so it is also a Disney Plus documentary series called No Taste Like Home with Anthony Porowski. So I don't know if this is getting a second season. Like it's, however many episodes. Each episode, as a good summary, each episode, Anthony Porowski from Queer Eye takes a different celebrity. It's basically Who Do You Think You Are, but with food. So
Mhm.
and from a cultural perspective. So the first episode's like Florence Pugh, and he's taking her all over like England and Yorkshire, and kind of letting her know. And there's some really, really nice moments in it that there were quite a few moments in the show I cried because I was like, oh my God, it's like celebrities and stuff. And there's a really emotional episode with Aquafina because her second episode's her, and she is half Korean, half Chinese, but she knows nothing about her Korean heritage because her mum died when she was 4 years old. So they go to Korea and she literally meets like family that she didn't know she had. And it's like this really, you can just see how overwhelmed she is. And it's just really nice. But then at the same time, you're also seeing all this awesome food be made and it's really delicious. So, you've got like Justin Theroux with Italy and you've got Issa Rae with Senegal and then James Marsden with like Germany and Texas. And then finally, yeah, so it's quite a few different people and quite a few different countries as well. So you will get like a nice little emotional and also like edible kind of journey. And especially if you like one of these celebrities, like it is like adore Florence Pugh, so that was honestly one of the first things that like drew me to this show. And so I was like so excited to watch it, and then it was just really nice to just watch them, and again really wholesome. It was
Mhm.
so nice to watch across, and each episode's like 42 minutes or whatever. Oh, the final one is Henry Golding with Malaysia, where he
Mm.
just wanted to, yeah, because he's half British, half Malaysian, and so he did. And that's the thing; it's very surprising how many of these celebrities know so little about the part of their heritage that they're exploring. So much so that many of them don't even know like anything. They just know that they are, and they're like, my family doesn't have any history record. Like this is my chance, and so it is very interesting. And it's like even these like very famous, important people, it's like they're just like us. So, which I think is part of the point. But it is very wholesome and nice. And it's perfect, relaxing viewing. And also because each episode's completely different. You could just put one on and then, come back and watch the rest of the time. I binged them all, but you don't have to. Yeah.
As somebody who works in the food industry,
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to checking this one out. But docu-series are just very hard for me to, fit them into the schedule. But they're
Yeah.
definitely there, and I definitely want to
Yeah.
watch more. But
Well,
something
each one of these is like 43 minutes at the very least, so they're not too long.
I will take 40-ish minutes
Yeah.
of something as opposed to like some of the hour and like 25-minute episodes that we're getting for some of
Yep.
these series.
What's
Yep.
crazy is I went on IMDb and it said every episode was 2 hours. So I'm glad that
That's not true.
see that was a potential barrier for me. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like 2 hours each of this. As somebody who's trying to lose weight and
Yeah.
control their eating right now, this one might have to wait
Yeah.
because the
No,
cravings
I
are
did. I'll be honest. I sat down and I literally, like, as I was watching each episode, I like Googled, if I didn't have already, I Googled like the recipe for the food. I was what, so I've just been making my way through them. But yes, I can confirm, I'm looking at it now. Each episode is 45 minutes and it's less
the
than that because you've got credits and you've got the like opening, which is the same every time. So
That is much more manageable.
yeah.
So
All right.
I'm gonna put that in my back pocket for sure.
Yeah. As a treat on your treat days.
Nice. My number seven's The Bear, season 4.
That's why
No,
I'll get to
no,
it eventually.
no
I
overlap.
I didn't
I
watch it yet.
I haven't watched it yet because I know I'm gonna get stressed and I just can't yet.
This is a show that should be weekly, like
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I could handle it
Or
weekly, but I just the
That's
idea of
all I'm
binging
gonna
it right
say.
now
This would get
or
the
gives me
buzz.
anxiety to think about binging it right now. So like
all of that is fair. And if you don't like the anxiety inducing feeling that you get from The Bear season 3, this season is not going to help. So yes,
great.
I'm never gonna go so far as to say that The Bear season 4 is like the best season out there because it's got its problems, just like every other show of
Mm.
television, but or season of television. But what this show hits so well with some of like certain characters that normally have not gotten their due. They've added in they've consolidated a little bit of the cast, which is good. Every like the last couple seasons, there's been an episode where they've had like a family get together, and this one is actually like a happy get together. And
Aw.
some of the guest stars that they have in that is like, oh, like good call. How the fuck did like everybody in Hollywood just like score an episode on The Bear? Like, so I love that. And I think this also fixed one of the things that I was concerned about with The Bear is like, how much more brooding Carmen do we actually need right now?
That's a huge relief to hear because it was
Um,
getting on my
and
nerves.
and this season, we've actually got a little bit of some come to Jesus moments that I was
Okay.
like, thank God that we're finally at that
Yep.
point. So this is kind of a continuation of season 3, which pisses me off because
Mm.
it's like this is a season 3 part 2-ish, but I'm fine with them calling it season 4. And FX has kind of had like a quiet year, but between adults, The Bear, and then one other one that's not on my list that I do want to give a shout out, which is Dying for Sex, which Michelle Williams is great in that. It is a sad show through and through, but it is also hilarious and unhinged, and I loved it. And so The Bear season 4 is great. So I will give it that. Shane, your number 7.
So my number 7 is a Hulu release, and this honestly might be so high on my list because it felt so refreshing that this season had urgency to wrap it up. It's Handmaid's Tale season 6
Okay.
I
because
watched it, but I think it's just like I've been saying, it's way too close to life that I can't fully enjoy it.
Yeah.
fair. I will put this very pointedly. This show's been dragging ass for like 3
Yeah.
seasons. And
Let's just say, and it's kind of going to continue with the Testaments coming out soon. So,
I was so close to just giving up on this show because
hmm
it's been spinning wheels for so long.
Yep.
This felt so
There's only so much
refreshing
misery you can witness, right? Like,
until it gets repetitive and it feels like you've done
yeah.
the same exact thing over and over again. It made me so happy because this kind of captured the same energy of like the first 2 seasons or so, where it's
Mm.
just like it felt important, it had
Hmm.
strong performances, and it was going somewhere. Like mostly an end. Like
Hmm.
obviously there's more room for June to do what June's going to do in the future, but it finally closed the book on what this story was, and there was some really powerful, like there were some moments that really hit in this season, and it made me so
Yeah.
happy that they finally closed this loop and stuck to the landing instead of this feeling like spinning wheels for 8 episodes and then like threading together a
Yeah.
finale. So this hit for me, and it was the first time this show's hit in years. So there you go.
No, yeah, I fully agree. I think, there's some really powerful moments. Like I'll say just Lawrence and Nick, there's like a moment with, oh man, that was a really great episode. And like, yeah, and I think it's just because I was like, I know because I have the book. The Testaments is based on a book, so there is like a reason why certain storylines are left as they are because they are going to continue in show format.
Mhm.
And so we'll see, but it is still it I think to your point, Shane, I think it's like it had a story. Like it was actually leading to something rather than just
Yeah.
like they're in Canada, everybody hates them and everything's terrible and now everyone's getting radicalized for bad. And
Mm.
then it's like you turn and then you are like, "Oh, I need a break from that. Let me go on my phone. Oh, look, it's happening in the world as well." Great. Great. I'm really enjoying this.
What did he it's like, what did he do now? Just like every time.
Yep.
And so yes. Thank you, Hulu. Wrapping this up and actually ending this in a meaningful way.
Yep. I actually have a very similar thought process for my next one, which is You season 5. I
Mm.
feel like it was also one where it was like really strong first couple of seasons. And then it kind of like, especially in the last season, they went all like, they just were like weird plot points and twists and all that sort of stuff. And this was like, this is it. And it feels like Penn Badgley probably had a lot more to do in I know that he was obviously very involved in the creative like thought process of it as well, but the character like it had a point and the point was very important to make
Mhm.
because I don't know if you guys have seen the show, but the way Joe is not a good person.
No.
That's the
No.
thesis.
No.
He's attractive but he's not a good person and he is the villain of the show. And I think it was a very interesting lesson for the viewer where it's the whole final season is literally just being like, no, you have to be able to differentiate between the person whose story you're following and the person you're supposed to be rooting for. And I say that as someone who often finds that hard to do themselves. Like I will find myself being like, "No, don't do that. You're going to get caught." But then you're like, he probably should get caught. It's like, and I think also speaking of Handmaid's Tale, I want to look up the actor. I don't really know why, but she got a little bit of, I guess because people loved Victoria Pedretti as Love Quinn so much that people just didn't accept any other love interest Joe Goldberg was going to have. But Madeline Brewer, who's also in Handmaid's Tale, she was really
Oh.
good. I found her character to be super interesting and really like I I felt that she was the audience in that it's like she went on an important journey and you are meant to understand that and it's very hard to respect because it's easy to judge but then again like I really enjoyed the way the show kind of turned it all around and I think it was a very very strong ending that you kind of just like it really just makes you sit when the show's finishing and you have the credits you're like oh I need to take a look at myself
Mm, mm.
and I just also very much enjoy how much Penn Badgley is like, he's a bad person. I know I'm playing him, but he's a bad person. And that just felt like it was a really strong, I really enjoy it, especially someone who read the books. And the books, they diverge completely after the second book, but in a way that I think works well for television. So yeah, You, season 5. It's over, thank
I
God.
I feel like You is what every Scorsese movie is for most men, where it's
Yes,
just like
yes.
you need to take a step back and realize this is not a good person.
The main
Right.
character does not make them the hero.
Mm.
Just it's like
They're your protagonist. They're not
yeah.
the hero of this.
Exactly. Exactly.
My number 6 is Hacks, the most recent
Mm.
season of Hacks.
Light punt.
Slight punt. Okay. Our
Light
first
punt.
our first punt
Yeah.
after 12 different TV shows.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think
Um,
that's better for the show, for this
Yeah.
show, honestly. But
I
yes, light
agree.
punt.
I agree. Okay. Shane, your number 6.
Poker Face season 2.
Wait, what?
Poker
Poker Face.
face.
Oh, Poker
Yeah.
Face. I
Yeah.
couldn't hear what you said.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
sorry. Poker Face season 2. I love this show. Natasha Lyonne is amazing. I love Charlie. I will follow her on any journey throughout this show. And I was digging like this being a little bit more disconnected than the first season of like her being constantly under thumb of this one character chasing after her. They had a little bit of that in this season, diverged a little bit from that. It I really liked a lot of the guest stars and stuff like that and the different stories. But then it tricked you with the last couple episodes and really got you into a really uncomfortable and interesting scenario that Charlie hadn't been challenged with up to this point. But there's a lot of really great episodes. Like Simon Rex had a really cool baseball episode. Cynthia Erivo
Just
playing like what,
crush.
five
Just
sisters or whatever in one episode was wild. And there's so many
well,
great.
duh, Shane. She's a witch. So how obviously.
And I think this show did a nice mixture of definitely having one-off episodes, having a couple where you get to settle in for a little bit. This show really does give me the same feeling of like growing up watching Murder She Wrote and stuff like that, where it's just like she's the new age, like she's gonna figure something out. And yes, she is very Columbo coded. She has the same.
Mhm,
She got that Peter Falk energy. Just like,
mhm.
that one more thing kind of thing about it. So I just love this show. They could just keep having this going on for forever. And I keep watching episodes of Charlie trying to figure out crimes.
Nice.
Fair enough.
It's on the list.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is one of my wife's favorite shows. Like us watching this together has been a lot of fun. So
Nice.
That's good to know. I'm not sure if this will get a punt, but mine is Resident Alien season 4.
that fell just outside of my top 10 of this
Ooh.
show.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
what? You love this show, Shane. But yes, I just finished. I've watched the final episode this week. Gosh, I don't know what is time. And I'm very sad it's over, especially because I really think that classic in this season they really like there's always been this like, oh, Harry's an alien, but not everybody knows, and they've obviously had to rush a lot of the character like development and relationships because they knew they were going to get cancelled. And I'm just glad they knew so they could do that. But it was very satisfying to kind of see the way it ended. And there's a really nice emotional moment at the end where there's this like big goodbye. And I was like, oh my God, like I didn't expect to cry at this stupid show about Alien. But it is genuinely just a really wholesome, like, exploration of found family and what that means. And again, it's very clear that this was meant to go on for at least a few more seasons and have like a little bit of a trickle per season in terms of what ends up happening in the final episodes. But because it's rushed, it is just a lot of good fan service essentially, because it's like you just get all of it all at once. Woo! And
Mhm.
so, we're not going to you can tell that there's certain things where they would have spent a lot of more time on that drama or that conflict, and they just had to patch it up. And so it was just nice and really like it kind of just made for really lighthearted viewing, which wasn't the worst thing in the world. So it was nice, and I'm very sad, and I really hope that I want to see Alan Tudyk in something else because I want him always working because he's one of the best actors working today. So
Yes.
Alan Tudyk is contractually obligated to just be on just random stuff
something.
all the
Yep.
time. He needs to be
Yep.
constantly working, or else he's the wind-up robot in him is just going to run
Yep.
out of gas.
Exactly.
That, to your point, Alice, that's honestly the reason why this wasn't a little bit higher on my list, is because it felt like they were taking their time with a specific arc the first couple episodes,
Yep.
and then they're just like, we need
Mm.
to really get into this. And it's still extremely satisfying. And that finale hit in a very specific way. And Alan Tudyk is a treasure, an absolute treasure. And if
Yep.
you've ever watched his video where he's like doing all of he's like, "Oh, I went to Juilliard,"
Yeah.
like influencing him. But yes, I love this show, and I am very sad that it's over.
Yep.
All right, we are into our top fives.
Woo.
My number five is Abbott Elementary, and Abbott
Was that
Elementary.
this year? Oh my God.
Well, the tricky thing is another
That's
show that got like
Yeah.
stretched out so long.
mhm.
Yep. Well,
Well,
please continue, Mike. This is
well,
an amazing show.
this is so this I mean that's the model with network television now, is that they have a certain amount of episodes that they do, and they stretch it out because there's like a mid-season break for
Mm.
like 7-ish 8 weeks or so, because we need a winter season as well because corporations are greedy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Abbott Elementary this past season, to me, fixed one of my biggest issues with the show, which is the principal, Ava. I've never been a huge fan of her. And this season gave her some agency. They actually gave her some character development. I really liked it. And um,
Also, the Always Sunny crossover
the
was
crossover
hilarious.
was just spot on. I loved it.
The Always Sunny light effect
Oh my
crossover
God, yeah, that's
was insane.
so yeah. Abbott Elementary to me is still one of the best shows on television.
Hmm.
Yes.
It sucks that it's not going to get its just due from like an Emmys perspective because
What do you mean? The Bear's so funny.
yeah,
It's so funny. Like,
Oh, and now Hacks
and
is
now Hacks is taken over. That's
taken,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
well, Hacks is a comedy. The Bear, to Alice's
Yes.
point,
Yeah.
Is
hasn't
not.
been funny probably
Ever.
ever.
It's
So
just outrageous. That's
yeah,
it. And less than like 30 minutes. That's
it's
it. That's
Oh
it.
my
category
God,
filled.
these vaguely ethnic people from Chicago make jokes out of their depression and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Oh my God, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Abbott Elementary this season, it's still great. It's one of the best shows out there right now. It's definitely for me the best show on network television. So keep it up,
This and
Please.
Resident Alien were sitting right outside my top
Mm,
10, right next to each other.
yeah.
nice. How
So,
how applicable. Shane, you're number five.
speaking of hacks, so this was the slight punt.
Okay.
So, this show, like, I loved where this season went with the whole late night show. And
Mm. God damn it. Like, why on earth?
there there is some really frustrating elements in a good way from a show perspective, but just the spotlight that it put on what actually happens, and which is also very interesting in terms of where late night is right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's and I actually have a side question. Like, Alice, are you caught up on Hacks?
I've no, that's one of
Have
the ones where it's like,
Okay.
I will get to it. Like
Mhm.
one
And
day in the
Mike, I have a
future.
very important
Like,
question for you. Are
yeah.
you of the camp that wants to see them kiss and be together, or are you part of the camp that's just like, no, why the hell should these two
No,
characters
no, I
wind up
mean
with
like
each
I
other?
haven't seen it, so I have no idea.
Well, no, I said, so then Mike,
No, she
but-
she
Oh,
doesn't she doesn't know anything about the show. She
yeah.
hasn't watched any of it. But to your
No, I
well,
point,
I'm
think
asking
he's
you, Mike,
asking you, Mike. Yeah, he's asking you, Mike.
you, Mike, specifically. This is an important question.
yeah, yeah. Just at least like let's get to that point and let's see what happens. Yeah.
There's definitely sexual tension going on between these two characters on some level, but just this season goes to some place like that last episode.
Oh my God, that last episode is so unhinged. It's hilarious, but
This show's so funny, but both of them are going through a lot of like they've gone through so much growth and journeys throughout the show, and their relationship frictioning in this season what made it really compelling, and it was so interesting getting inside a writer's room.
yeah, no,
And all that
I
process was
agree.
very interesting too.
The end of this show or the end of this season is the first time that I'm like, how much longer can we keep doing this? Like I still love it, but I could see like another episode or two or another season or two max.
Ah,
But yeah, it's still like Hacks is still one of the best shows out there, and it's one of HBO's best shows right now. And it's crazy to think that it's still like a Max original. And yeah, so good call
but
out
yeah,
with that one.
there you go.
Alice, you're number five.
My number five is a mini series that is set in Australia but is Netflix, and that was Apple Cider Vinegar.
This was just
Which
outside my top 10 is so much.
number one, I have to say this. Kate, the only person in the world who is allowed to do an Australian accent is Caitlin Dever, because
Mm,
it's the only time that is genuinely an excellent accent for the specific accent she is doing. She's doing that is obviously not how we all speak, but that is how that woman actually speaks in real life. It was uncanny. She didn't go over the top with the nose or the nose or anything like that. Like it was so good. I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, like I'm extremely impressed. So number one, that alone makes the show worth it. But because I remember when this was happening, like on the ground. Obviously, this was pretty big news down here. She was very, very famous. She was Bella. She was one of the first Instagram influencers for the like whole food lifestyle, and then she had the whole cancer storyline. I remember reading about her story in like magazines I was reading, and then it all got uncovered, and everyone was like, and
Mhm.
so it's a perfect. I'm not surprised Netflix was like, we have to make that into a mini series. Like it is perfect for that sort of thing. And I really enjoyed the way it told the story because it didn't just tell her bit, which was the fraud bit. It also told the story of someone who did have cancer and also went down that path and still obviously like it doesn't end well because ultimately clean eating is not going to cure cancer. Hot take, I know, but they're like chemo makes you feel bad because it is destroying the cells that are cancerous. That is why these are aggressive treatments for aggressive diseases that are literally going to kill you otherwise. And like
Mhm.
I think especially nowadays when everybody has access to Google and anytime anybody gets sick, they're like, oh, I looked it up, I looked it up, I looked it up. I know better than you. And I can't imagine, like, I have some friends who work in the medical industry, and it's like so frustrating. It's like, I went to school, I'm not trying to hurt you, I'm trying to help you, and I'm having to fight you for it. And I think every single medical procedural out there does like something where they have some parent or whatever that won't like,
We'll get to that.
doesn't trust it. Yeah.
We'll get to another show about
Oh,
that, or that has an
yes.
episode.
Well, I will also say yes. We will. We will
Hmm.
get to that. But all that to say, where it was, I really enjoyed. Well, enjoyed's a strong word, but you know what I mean. I think that the way they did it was very well done because it wasn't just like, oh, she was a fraud. That's why it was all a lie. It's like, no, let's also look at it as someone who was so desperate for hope, and it still didn't work out. Like this is an important message we're trying to send. And I think the way it tells a story of someone who's obviously very lonely and is desperate for friendship, and this whole idea, like it was, social media being what it is and kind of creating that parasocial relationship with people that obviously leads to someone being creating quite a dangerous identity. Also, really interesting and important very important to explore right now with a lot of people falling into that with AI chatbots. Like this whole idea of like human connection is important and you can't just fake it and it won't fulfill you. And so I just yeah, it was a very interesting, very apt, very relevant story to tell that was actually also really well made. Like I wanted to watch every episode because even though I already knew, what happens and the famous 60-minute interview and like all the absolute denial that this woman lives in, but then also kind of what happened. But I think it's just, yeah, it was excellently made, very like, and it's weird to say like entertaining where it's like
It
it's
is
so
though.
it's
Yeah.
told in that bubblegum pop social media like influencer tone that I think again attracts very well. And bonus, there is, yeah, a scene that's literally shot at my university slash where I went to uni and also where I work, where I was like,
Nice.
so that was very exciting. But
Nice.
yes, I do strongly recommend. It's a mini series and it definitely won't get a season 2 because it's about a real person, so can recommend.
Netflix is really good at making these shows about
Yeah.
people who are full of shit and just
Yeah.
exposing them for the
Yeah.
frauds that they are. But I think, Alice, you're right because they take a different tack with this because they do a really good job of showing that this person is full of shit, and they
Yeah.
even show somebody who's like trying to, you know, showcase, like
They're not full of shit. They're just in denial. Like it's
right, right.
literally just they're like that's
Mhm.
the difference. It's like nobody wants to, and then they have that character who's literally just there to kind of again that audience insert character who,
Exactly.
yeah. And I think
Yeah.
it's like it's so
Who's
easy.
listening to
It's
this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but also I think the message is like hope is great, but it can also be really dangerous. And I
Hmm.
think that that's a really like at the end of the day, there's a reason why doctors exist, And so,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep. My number four is
Mhm.
the studio.
Slight punt.
Slight puns. Okay.
We're doing
Let's
slight punts today.
Slight puns.
ba
It's on my list. I'll get to it, I promise.
baby puns.
Baby
Bunts, if I
puns.
may.
Bunts.
Um,
Yeah.
okay. Shane, your number four.
Andor season 2.
Punt.
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 There you go.
Yeah. All
I
right.
figured
Okay.
that one was gonna get a punt. So
Here's
Yeah,
here's
that's
where
got
the
a
Alice.
punt.
punt.
Alice, you're number 4.
My number 4, I don't know if I'm gonna have a lot of agreements on this podcast, but I thought it was quite powerful, which is Squid Game season 3. I look,
Mm.
it's upsetting, but it's
Okay.
supposed to be upsetting.
Okay.
Like,
Alice, I'm gonna put myself on mute, so I'll let you talk. Go.
look, I think there's a particular message toward the end that is when you, especially because I just rewatched it for something I have to do yesterday, where Gi-hun says something along the lines of humans are, and I think the message there and what it tells, particularly because this first season kind of lulled you, weirdly enough, into kind of a false sense of security. And also the second season, because it ends and so many people are still alive because you're still in the middle of the games. I would also say this is more of a part 2 to season 2. It's not really its own season, which is its own issue. Yeah. For those listening, Mike is vigorously nodding. So, but I think as a whole, I think the story it's heartbreaking. Like I cried so many times. I was like, this is happening. Like I was literally like, this is so dire. And there's like what I just said about things giving you hope. This is the opposite of that. You will not have any hope when you walk out of this show. You will be depressed. You are faced with the ugliest part of humanity. But there is, like I said, there's that line, the humans are, and the action behind it, which is literally about giving people, like, there is always a chance. And so I think that it is just meant to give you that very small drop of hope in what is ultimately a very dire and depressing show. And I think as a 2-season arc, it is well told. I don't think this isn't a whole season, it's half a season. But I do think it is powerful, and I did go, oh my God, I need to know what happens. And then it finished, and I just stared at the black screen as it like played the credits, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And that's when I switched to comedies and procedurals. This is the show that broke me. So yeah, you can go off mute now,
Okay.
Mike.
So I think what drug this down for me so
Yeah,
much is the lack of payoff when it came to certain storylines. And I think
yeah,
I think this did a bad job of introducing some storylines that are like, what are we doing here? Like there's just a couple in here that just
yeah.
it just there's too much going on.
Oh
With
yeah.
with that being said, there is an element of the story that gets introduced this like during this that I'm like,
Mm.
oh, I think this is a step too far for me. This is just way, way too far. But I will say that the hide and seek game in particular
Oh my God,
just
that was one of the most tense
it's
things I've
just
ever watched in my
just
life.
devastating.
Yep,
Devastating what happened
yep.
during that.
Oh,
And even the jump rope game was
yep,
pretty awesome too. The
yep.
last game, but it brought a lot of
It's not
interesting
about the
dynamics.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
exactly.
the end result there was tough. And I'm cautiously optimistic about what happens at the end of this season. And I'm like, oh, I'm very interested to see what happens next from
Yep.
here. Even if I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to see that version of that,
I don't
but
even know if we're getting that version because the creator said that we're not. So I think it
well,
like, yeah,
Netflix says differently because
I
they've
know.
already attached
Oh, that's
somebody.
right, Dave. Yeah, David Fincher. Fuck.
Yeah,
Gee,
yeah.
I forgot
So,
about that. All
which
right. Yep.
he's already.
I'm glad social media ruined the ending of this season within like 24 hours of
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
dropping
absolutely,
for me.
absolutely. So yeah, I've got I struggled a lot with these 2 seasons, but I think you're right. They've ultimately there's some stuff in here that was just oh just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What you'll find is that, especially with my top 5, it's literally like, oh, these are the ones that kind of broke me a little bit.
Mm,
So, so even if they have flaws, like this one definitely has the most flaws. I would say of everything on my list, it has the most flaw, but it also had some of the most emotionally captivating moments and some of the best performances. Like
mhm,
even that final confrontation, there's a final confrontation in the final game and you are just watching someone completely break as a
mm,
human being. And it
yeah.
is so powerful, and like
Mhm.
the acting is insane. And so
Mhm.
yeah, it's like I agree. There was also certain storylines where I was like, what was the point of you? What is the
Yep.
point of your
Yep.
character? Like, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
What'd you
Yep.
do? What did you
Yep.
achieve?
Yep.
But
Yep.
but
Yep.
the actual game part of it and the outcome of it was powerful. Yeah.
Interesting, because I feel like one of my picks is a similar feeling to this, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
And the last thing, I hate the VIPs. I just hate them
Oh,
so
I
much.
know, but that's the point. You're
I know.
meant to hate him.
I know. That's the point. All right. We are into our top
Top
three, and
three.
my number three is the pit.
Punt, 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 punt.
Okay.
I have not fallen into the pit yet.
Dude.
I will say that you do fall. It is
Oh,
literally
yeah.
just, particularly now that you have all the episodes to watch.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Shane, you're number three.
The studio for my slight punt.
Mhm.
Even just from a filmmaking and a storytelling perspective, this show does so many fun things. Like, I know Adam lost his mind with when that second episode of this show came out with the oneer,
Oh, yes.
with them trying to film a oneer while the whole entire episode is a oneer. And
Yeah.
like, is some of this stuff just like showing off? Sure, but like, as somebody who really enjoys film and filmmaking, I'm like, I love it.
This is right up
And
your
Seth
alley.
Rogen fight like this. I just blanked on the Greek mythological character. This like pill, it just pushing this boulder up the hill the whole
Oh,
oh,
entire time.
Sisyphus.
yeah.
This is a
It's a Sisyphean task.
Oh, yeah,
task
for sure.
of him just being like, I want to make art. You're making a Kool-Aid movie an entire season. And I can't believe how good Martin Scorsese was in the
Oh, my
first
God. He was
episode of this
great
show.
in this.
The filmmakers they bring up, Ron
Ron
Howard.
Howard. Ron Howard was amazing in this.
Just the whole cast is incredible. The storytelling, the way that it's playing on different genres. And then the last couple episodes, this unhinged trip to an award show and just how ridiculous it all is. This is such a fun, engaging, and clever and thoughtful exploration of where commercial art is today, whether you're
Mhm.
talking about television or film, and just damn Apple. I did not
Wow.
expect this from you. So
Yeah,
there you
for
go.
sure. Just, I don't know. This just proves to me that Seth Rogen just like I just rewatched Freaks and Geeks for the
Yep.
writers' room recently, and
Mm.
man, when I watched that show the first time, I was like, this guy, this fucking guy, like he's not gonna go anywhere. And look at him now, like he's producing
Yep.
some of like the best shows on television right now. And so like it's crazy to think that like the trajectory of some of these people because Seth Rogen, he's hilarious in this. He's completely unhinged, but just the writing in this is whip smart. It shines
Mm.
a glaring light at Hollywood and all the bullshit that it goes
Mhm.
through. The supporting cast is fantastic as well. Ike Barinholtz
So
is just
yeah,
is amazing in this. I loved him so much. And the episode at the what Golden Globes was just outstanding. I loved it. And Zoe Kravitz, sneaky
yeah,
good cameo in this as herself, nonetheless.
yeah, yep. Between this and Platonic,
Mm,
Seth
Mm.
Rogen's really doing some good things over there on Apple. My wife and I love Platonic. That's all.
Platonic's
Yeah,
great.
Platonic's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Alice, you're number three.
I will. The studio's on my list. I hopefully will get to it by our final episode. But it's one of those ones where I was like, oh, this is just as someone who works in film and TV, it's gonna make me very upset.
At
So
least
I just,
some of the episodes are like 22 minutes and stuff
That's
like that. It's like
that's actually really good to know. I didn't know that.
they're all under 30 minutes. So
Excellent, excellent. My number three is Severance, season 2.
Not in my top 10.
I was
Really?
this is
It's
like my number 11.
number
I
20.
was gonna be shocked if none of us had this.
Yep. I'm a bit annoyed at it because it is another one where I'm like, season 3.
When is season 3?
When will that happen? Who knows? Especially because of how it ends, where you're just like, great. Well, I hope I remember all of this come like 3 years from now. But it is those final episodes. You want to talk about tense? Like, you want to talk about I was having a heart attack watching these episodes because of especially that final episode and going through the different levels, as it were, and all the different elements to that. Like, I think this was a really great further exploration of the story, in my opinion, of like, especially with what happens in the end of the last season and like remembering that as you come back into it and you're like, oh my goodness. And then you're a bit worried that nothing's going to happen, but things slowly progress. And even I think I really enjoyed seeing more of the management of Lumen and kind of the way that that all works and trying to get an understanding of it, because I know that when this story gets wrapped up, it'll be like, oh, I really hope it's a oh and not a what moment. Like, I hope I, I hope that they have a point they're leading to. But I also really enjoyed Helly/Helen Egan's like dynamic and like that all being uncovered. And I was a bit worried there was something that gets uncovered in like the second or third episode pretty early on. I was a bit worried was going to end up being like a whole show, and that was going to annoy me. Those kind of storylines very much annoy me, where it's like it's like I knew that the whole time and you're just waiting for the characters to figure it out. But they took care of that and then resulted in I did not expect for Miss Casey's character to be one of the most, if not the most interesting character in the show, where, you know, Aussie represent, she is such a fantastic actress. My gosh, the thing she has to do in this season and the way she has to bounce around, and there's some flashbacks and also like some changes in personality, like it's all believable, it's all heartbreaking, and it just makes me want to know more. So also shout out for Mr. Milchick. Again, I want to know what's happening there because that actor is fantastic, and I'm just so intrigued about the management and the create. Like, what is this company? Like, this is a cult. Like, what is happening right now? And so it was great. It was tense, and I'm just look. I understand as well. I put it on the list because it was very good, but I'm annoyed because I'm just like, well, see when Ben Stiller's written the next season, I guess. Like,
Funny because I also have similar feelings about the same other show about me just being like, when the hell am I gonna get answers? But can I make one quick aside about Tremel
yeah,
Tillman? Him
yeah.
showing up in Mission Impossible and stealing that movie with like a couple minutes of screen time, just being like, this character has the most personality out of anybody, and it's 100% this man. So I can't wait to see him pop up in more stuff.
Every company should have a choreography and merriment committee because if that doesn't win him the Emmy alone, that's sad.
Yep,
But
yep.
Adam Scott just
Oh my
the
goodness.
scene in the final episode where he's having that conversation, just
Mm-hmm.
brilliant
Yep,
writing.
yep.
Loved it, and also just God, give the guy
Such a
the Emmy.
great moral quandary show too, because you're just like, I mean, I can't blame the choice, but I'm
Yeah.
also like so close.
Oh yeah, so great, great pick. It's yeah, just outside the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So my number two, and based on what everyone's talked about, I think I'm the only one that's going to have this, is Adolescence. And so when I first heard about this, I was like, there's no way that this is this good. But then I was like, wait, but I thought that about Baby Reindeer. So let's see where this ends up. God, I was exhausted watching this.
Do you
Um,
have a son? By the way, I can't remember.
no, I have two daughter. I have
You have
two
two
daughters,
daughters,
and
so it's scary for a
that's even
very
worse.
different.
That's even
Yeah.
worse for watching this. This is not a police procedural in the same way that
No.
a lot of the other shows are because you find out pretty quick what happens, which I appreciated, but
Mm.
it just shows just the dangers of this quote unquote manosphere and just
Mm-hmm.
like just the internet in general. And that's what I can't stand about this show is like, look, we grew up with things like Stranger Danger, and now
Yeah.
I like my kids
Yeah.
don't have to worry about strangers. We have to worry about the internet, and
Yeah.
it's terrifying. But just everybody is just on their A game with this. Owen Cooper, who's the kid that plays Jamie, is outstanding
In his
in
first
this
acting role too, which
first
is
acting role, which is crazy to think. I'm very curious to see at the Emmys who's going to win in the ultimate battle of this versus the Penguin. I'm very curious to
mm,
see how that's going to play out because I would have thought that the Penguin would have been a shoe-in for everything, but Adolescence is there, and I'm like, I don't know, because I loved the
mm,
Penguin, but this just devastates you in just a completely different way. And this is a tough watch. It's 4 episodes, hour long a piece, and they're all oneers, and they're all it's like some of them it's just like I don't know how you managed to pull this off, but good for you guys. So from a technical
mm,
standpoint, this is outstanding as well. So Adolescence, I can fully endorse that it's a fantastic show. It is very heavy though.
hmm.
And if you're not in a good mental space. And also, this is not a good show to binge. It's absolutely not a good show to binge. You probably need like 1 or 2 episodes and then maybe a juice box afterwards. And then just,
Yep.
I
maybe something a little bit lighter.
I have been trying, like, the hour-long television show that I've been binging lately is trying to finish Doom Patrol because I never finished that
Mm.
show. But that show just confuses me on such a deep level, and it's just so out there that I haven't really had the motivation to keep going back to it. I think I need to put that on pause and just watch Adolescence and The Pit at this point because I feel like I need to watch those two shows before this year's over.
Yeah, look, I promise to get to Adolescence before the year's over, but it might be like the week of the next podcast because I'm just gonna be like, every time I go to put it on, I'm like, no, I can't.
Not right now. Not right now.
I
Yeah,
simply
yeah,
cannot.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
All right, Shane, you're number two.
I think I'm definitely the only one that has this on my list, and I've alluded to this multiple times, but I can't argue with how The Last of Us season 2 made me feel every week.
I
And
will get to it. I will. I have to wait for my partner.
this, I'm trying to like how the first season felt, where it's just like it's an engaging, interesting show, and
Mm,
then every last 10 minutes of every episode
yeah.
completely rips your soul out right
Mhm.
in front of you and just punches you in the face. This show doesn't consistently do that in the second season like the first one did, but like I'm just gonna say it. The second episode gutted me,
Oh God,
Mm,
yeah,
gutted me,
yeah.
and my wife knew what was gonna happen because she's watched playthroughs of the game. She couldn't actually play the game because like the stress level of it all,
yeah.
and she was staring at me, watching me
So
to
you
see
had
my
no
reaction.
idea. You had no idea.
Oh no.
I knew nothing about
Oh,
this
Oh,
game.
bud,
dearie me. Shane, are you
buddy,
okay?
I
buddy,
wasn't. I was
buddy.
not okay. And
Yeah.
then there's a one episode of flashbacks that just pulls back layers and layers to this relationship. I love the dynamics in this show between Bella Ramsey, Isabella Merced. Like I love that dynamic.
Isabella
I
Merced is having a hell of a year. Good for
Mm,
her.
the way that they keep like threading in some of these other characters like Jeffrey Wright and
He's apparently the
I
voice in the game
hate
too. So yeah.
Caitlin Dever so much in this show, which is going
you
to be
are
very
supposed to.
interesting when supposed to spend what all of season 3 with her will be very interesting. But and she's so damn good in it.
She's
So
Mm,
great.
like
She's
she is
great.
perfect.
Yeah.
The acting in this is incredible. And then the ending
Yeah, that
of
ending,
this
huh?
season, if I have to wait 2.5 years to find out what happened, and if I'm imagining what they're doing with the third season, and if I have to wait until the fourth season of this show to find out what happens at the end of the second season of this episode of this show, I'm going to be so mad at this
Mm,
show. This is why I'm this close to just looking up what happens because I don't know if I can take it. If this was coming out every year, okay, fine. I'm hoping that it moves faster because one particular cast member is gone, I
mm,
guess,
mm,
what?
permanently.
No, yeah. No.
mm,
Yep.
mm,
Yep.
Well,
mm.
like I didn't know if they were going to continue to do like flashbacks and stuff like that, but the way that this show made me feel week to week And every time I went into this episode of this new season, I'll admit this feels like a piece of a story instead of a whole season, which I think they did very specifically on purpose. It just hit on such a deeply emotional level that very few shows did to me this year. So there you go. The Last of Us season 2.
Yeah, this would be my number 15 show of the year, so it's just outside. Still enjoyed it, just these other shows just hit a little bit harder for me. And
I can understand
yeah.
from what I know, or probably think I know what the last two are. But continue. Alice, your turn.
Might get punted. Andor season 2.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that it's like a bunt, if I may, because
Until now.
yeah, until now,
Yeah,
because it's
Alice
my number.
tosses the ball to Mike, and
Because it's my number one. Because
Yeah.
adolescence for a while was my number one, and after
Mhm.
really thinking about it for a while, I was like, "Fuck, adolescence like got me good." But Andor, I expected nothing
Yeah.
from this show. I was like, "Who gives a shit about
Yeah.
Cassie when they first
Literally.
announced the show?"
Mike, do you mean see an ender?
Cassie, oh my God, just everybody is just so great, and it is fucking criminal that nobody got an Emmy nomination for acting in this. Like, I do not
Star
understand.
Wars, Mike.
Yeah.
It's
Stellan
simple
Skarsgård
genre.
at the least.
Yeah.
Or the girl who plays his like daughter
Pro-
assistant.
Yeah, she is
Yeah.
just this show is the epitome of just payoff at every turn because each,
Mm-hmm.
like structurally, like I'm not sure how I felt about like them just jumping a year in advance for each episode, but like, man, they really paid it off with just
Yeah.
that Gorman just like everything that happened in Gorman just
Oh,
destroyed
very
me.
relevant.
Ugh, just
That was politically relevant.
I did not think that
Mm-hmm.
in our year of our Lord Television 2025 that Star Wars was able to tell this type of story. I didn't think that
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars had anything left in the tank to tell me a story like this, and I'm
Yeah.
just so happy that this it stuck the landing, which is ridiculous because how the fuck can you stick the landing for a show where you already know what's going to happen to
Yeah.
one of these people?
Well, yeah. Especially
But
when they introduce the robot and you're like, oh.
oh no. And for a show like this to also recontextualize how I feel about
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One as well,
Yep.
I
it's
Yep.
need to rewatch it.
I
100%.
no, you know what I did? I literally
I
I
re
finished the final episode and
and
then I put
I
on
put it
Rogue
on.
One.
Yeah, I
Yep.
put it on
I
and
literally and it was I was like it was so much more depressing. I was like
but
so angry. I was like maybe oh no.
it's crazy from a trilogy standpoint that
Yeah. Yeah.
Andor
Yeah.
season 1, season 2, and Rogue One, like that's
It blends
that's
so
that's a
the only
trilogy.
difference is like oh they look a bit younger but like that's but story wise it is I almost because I went into season 2 and I was like I think the first few episodes it took me a while to get back into it because it had been a while and like I was like oh what's this weird dance scene at the wedding and like what this
Oh,
is all yeah
I was
yeah
all here for that. That was so
I mean,
unhinged.
I
I
was
loved it,
enjoying it,
but
but I was a bit like, okay, and because it still had some really great moments, like the whole trying to get the mic out of the, in oh my gosh. But then I think that it hit it like it always does. There was that episode, I think like episode 4 or something, where it just like every single episode was just like, oh my God. And then they would just trickle in characters that are going to be in Rogue One.
mhm.
And it's so tense. And like there are certain like Cyril's character, I didn't I was so like I was like, who cares about that character, right? After season 1. Like it was just an
Until
annoying character.
until you do, and then it's like,
Until you
oh,
care.
fuck.
I was like, did you just make me care and also upset in the same episode for a character that I've always been like, what a weird what an annoying character. And
Yeah.
then just all the different levels of the like bureaucracy of the empire and like the brainwashing that happens on the internal element there, but then the Republic and like, oh my God, the senators just being so annoying. You're just like, and they got the same actors, so it's great because then you literally, I finished the final episode and you're just like, oh, because it's the way it ends. It's literally like within the hour of like storytelling, right? It's crazy. And you knew that obviously that this was a prequel, so the next one's Rogue One, but I did not expect it to so flawlessly blend in together.
Yep.
But yeah.
The only thing I have to add, which is the main reason this didn't get even higher on my list above 4, was because those first couple episodes didn't click as much as batch 2, batch 3, batch 4 of episodes were just like, holy crap. And like made sure that Wednesday when my wife and I sat down to watch that last batch, we had all 3 hours or whatever to sit there and watch the episodes together. So,
yeah,
damn. You go, Star Wars.
Good job. Good job.
Good job. Yeah.
All right, Shane, what's your number 1?
This show is very near and dear to me, and also very sad that this also ended this year. I feel like this happens every year. I just have all these shows. It's like, why are you ending on me? And that is The Righteous Gemstone. This season, they've gone to dark places before in terms of their story arcs, but nothing
season,
as dark as like
this
serial killers and stuff like that. It was completely unhinged. And I, for a second, thought that they were going to go there in the last episode of this show to a really, really dark place. Sean William Scott popping up in this show was wild, and how he fit in. Michael Rooker, Megan Mullally was an interesting choice. What they did with John Goodman took such an interesting turn in this last season, like really opening his eyes to like he was living the wrong kind of life. And I also hated his wig and his long hair so much. I wanted him to cut it the whole entire time. But the journey that the 3 kids go, well, they all act like children, so I'm still gonna call them kids. The journey that they went on and where they got to in this, and I have to say, Stephen Dorff is one of the most underappreciated character actors working today, and it makes me so happy to see him getting work like this, because him as the rival preacher is so good, and his duel with Jesse at the this season, like the series finale, was so great. And Uncle Baby Billy, his whole Teengus arc in this season was wild. It's like, all I'm asking for is $2 million. Like it looks like a snowball cocaine. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Not asking too much. And just the memes that come at it, like everything Walton Goggins says in this show is absolutely hilarious. And it had some meaningful arcs for some of them, and it made me really happy at the end that like these people were so despicable, and they all came to their moments. And also the just a small appreciation to Danny McBride's mustache, mutton chop, and tinged gray hair combo was classy as hell, and I loved it. Just from man speaking to man of who appreciates facial hair, I loved it. So there you go. I'm almost there. I just need to grow in a mustache.
So this season bookends with just the power of prayer, and that like both of those.
I didn't even mention the first episode with Bradley Cooper in it, which was amazing.
I was
amazing.
Like as soon as that first episode started playing, I was like, Bradley Cooper, what the fuck are you doing here? But yeah, it's great. I am sad that The Righteous Gemstones is done, but I think that they stuck the landing pretty well. So good for them. Let's talk about The Pit, Alice.
Let's talk about The Pit. So this might be recency bias because I literally watched the final episode this morning. But let me tell you about how I started watching it. So I picked up a few days ago F1 Academy on Netflix because I was like, oh, I've never been into F1, but I'm like, this is a bit like part of the reason I've had an issue with it because I'm like, I don't understand the gender disparity because I'm literally like, it's car driving. Like, why is this? So the fact that this existed, I was like, great, I'll pick this up. I'll put this on. I couldn't get past two. Normally, I give shows 3 episodes. I couldn't get past two because the editing is atrocious. It is like an MTV Love Island. Like every 2 seconds, there's a pop song, and it's like garish and awful. I think that they tried to serve an audience that doesn't exist, basically. They tried to serve a superficial cartoon audience. And so I was like, this is giving me heart palpitations because of how like crap the editing is. I'm going to put on something more relaxing. I'm going to put on The Pit because I find medical
What the fuck?
procedurals
Like what?
because
Like
I find medical procedurals relaxing the same way I find like murder procedurals relaxing, right? Because I'm like, I know that, they get cases and there is a solve. Funnily enough, I wasn't wrong. Like it did
you're right.
relax me more because I didn't know. I knew very little. I like put it on my watch list ages ago because people were like, you have to watch it, you have to watch it. And I was like, all right, all right. And then I had on my list and I was like, I need to watch something else. I like medical procedurals. Let me put this on. I didn't realize it was like every episode was an hour. Like I was learning that as I was watching it, and I knew almost nothing going in. I literally knew medical show about the ER, and then obviously as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, okay, each episode's named after an hour. Okay, it's all one 15-hour shift. I'm like, that's weird. How good could that possibly be? Very good. Very good is the answer to that question. This show, I can't tell you the amount of tears cried watching this show because of how insane the emotional output is. Not even in the like, oh, that's sad, just the way these characters are somehow realistically developed. But it's only 15 hours and it feels like for the characters, it feels like it's only 15 hours, but obviously you're still learning so much. And oh my goodness, if it does not make you gain an insane level of respect for the people that work in the medical industry, particularly in emergency departments, I will never complain again about being in the waiting room of the emergency room because I like this show does such a good job. And also, I have a really good friend whose wife is a nurse who works in the ER, and she said she always gets really, really angry watching any show around medicine because it's inaccurate. And she said, not only is this accurate from a medical perspective, she also said the energy is accurate. And she said all the character archetypes. She's like, I have worked with every single one of these people before, which was crazy for me to read. And they've been binging it ever since because I was like, you have to watch it. I didn't expect this to captivate me because I remember seeing when it got nominated for so many Emmys, I was like, really? Like, it's like ER, right? Like it's like a medical show. Like these shows never get nominated. And I get it. I think Noah Wiley is doing something incredible, both from a show running and an acting perspective. I think all the cast are like, they are doing the job where they are just like, it's nothing over the top. It's nothing like, unrealistic, but you really feel it. And again, whether it is because there's a really, really sad ending to a case, or, there's a couple episodes toward the end of the season that are just tense and brutal. And I will also say, if you are squeamish, you should not watch this show.
This is not the show
This
for
is
you.
not the show. If you can't handle blood or realistic medical imagery, do not put this show on because it is literally like there's a birth scene. You see everything. Like everything. I was literally like, oh, we're not pulling away then. Okay. And that's like tame for what this show is. The blood, the muscle, the tendons I'm like, I heard that it was realistic. I heard that it was the bear, but for medicine. And but in a way, it's better because, in my opinion, because it is still kind of I know it feels counterintuitive to say, but it is kind of relaxing because I'm like, this is just really good, smart people doing their work and doing it well. And you are seeing these cases be thought out and figured out. And there is something like weirdly hopeful about like good people exist. I don't know why, but yeah. Sorry, Mike, I'll let you talk about it a little bit. I've got such intense recency in my head right now because of it.
I picked this up about a third of the way through season 1 back. God, this was back beginning of the year. It's crazy to think that, this only came out like beginning of this year, but this was another show that was like, it can't be this good, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't do medical procedural shows. Like they're all the same unless like you add a new spin on it. Like House, we're doing, medical mysteries, or Scrubs, we're injecting comedy into this, or Children's Hospital.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
with this show, I think it picks up the medical drama at a very delicate time
Mm-hmm.
in its trajectory right now because it is post-COVID when
Yep.
just everything like within the medical industry, just the roller coaster of emotions between just the devastating nature that those waves of COVID had, where like people, like so many people were lost, but then also you have the downward trajectory of people's trust being eroded within the medical industry as well. So that's all of that is depicted in this, in addition to just the general bureaucracy and the day-to-day bullshit that
Oh my
comes with
gosh.
working
Yeah.
in an emergency room like this. And that comes to play as well because you get to know some of these patients and then they have to get shipped out because there's so many people waiting in this emergency room that patch them up, get them out of here so that we can
Mm-hmm.
we can move on to other things. Some of the storylines in this are just absolutely devastating. Just,
Oh my
uh,
God.
you
There's
know,
one about a pool, and then there's another
oh,
one about a fentanyl like overdose.
overdose. Yeah,
I was not okay.
I was,
Was not okay with either of those.
yeah.
So, as somebody who has fainted watching 127 hours,
Oh, you're
because
probably
Yeah.
I'm not
Just,
sure
I
if,
mean, luckily you can watch it at home, so you can just skip.
I literally did faint watching
Yeah.
127 hours in film club in college when he
oh,
cuts his arm off.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
that, but
pretty.
And
imagine that like 6 or 7 times per episode. Like,
I'm also terrified of needles.
Oh yeah,
And
that's like not even, I didn't even take that in. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's pretty tame compared to some of the other stuff that
In
happens.
the
oh
first episode, you
god.
see someone's leg that's been degloved.
Yeah,
So,
imagine what happens
So I have to
to
experience Gerald's game again.
yeah,
mm,
but like
Worse.
that's like the
real,
first thing you see. Yeah.
yeah.
And then there's all the emotional stuff. So like that's just the
Wow.
physical
Well,
stuff.
Um,
I can handle the emotional stuff.
Oh, you say that now.
yeah. Dr. Robbie, who's Noah Wile's
Mm.
character, just so relatable in a
Mhm.
lot of ways because on one end, he's a manager. He
Yeah.
is the one that has to corral this entire group. At another end, he's also a teacher as well. So
Hmm.
he needs to be able to step back and let some of these people do their jobs. At another end, he's a physician as well. And the way that he has to just compartmentalize so many of the different things while also dealing with his own shit as well is very hard to watch in a lot of ways. I did want to give a shout out to the I can't remember what his name was in the show, but the other doctor that's in charge of the night shift as well.
Oh, Abbott?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sean Hattasey in this is fantastic. Just a
Mm.
nice change of pace from what Noah Wiley has to do. And if they do the Pit night shift, I would be all here for it. I
Yeah,
would
I'm really
I would watch.
curious what the next
Um,
season's going to be.
the only thing I've heard about this Pit season 2 is that it's happening over the 4th of July. And the
Somebody's blowing their hand off.
fireworks, fireworks, fireworks.
Oh.
So, and for me, I love all the characters in this, but Dr. King
Oh
was
my God,
something
I adored her.
I
And it's
adored.
Bryan Cranston's daughter, which like
Is it
in
really?
real life.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, in real life but she like her name's different and all that sort of stuff. But like she's again, what I really love about that is that it's never you're never explicitly told a lot of things about these characters. Like it's not like, oh, she has this, or this person is suffering from this, or this person has had this happen to them in their history before. But it's all shown. Like it's all illustrated through how they react to certain things, how they have certain like how certain cases affect them more than other cases. And then there's just small tidbits that are dropped and it's so fascinating like and you know everything that you need to know about these characters and they feel like real people and it's like oh it's just a very good show but it is emotional. I cried a lot watching this show. Like I assume as the father of two daughters, you're never going to let them be unattended by a pool ever.
Nope, absolutely not. But okay, yeah, that one got me good. It's that, yeah.
Yeah.
So literally the only thing I have to contribute to this conversation is quick story. So my friend Paige, who's my wife's best friend, and her sister have a podcast called the Evil Twins podcast, and they went through all the show Evil.
Oh,
Yeah.
And instead of just ending the podcast when Evil was over, they were like, "We'll pick another show." They picked The Pit.
Oh,
So
so now you have to watch it.
well, no, I'm gonna say I have listened to their whole entire show because I'm a good friend and I want to support my friend. So I do know what happens in the show. But
Okay.
oh,
I will watch it now and also be terrified because you both did an amazing job of selling me on this show and
mhm.
that
Yeah.
I'm gonna be perfectly okay watching it.
Yeah, yes.
Just look, it's the bear, but medicine.
Mhm.
But the characters will anger you less. But that's just because the world will anger you more. Yeah.
I've actually worked in a restaurant before, so I
Mhm.
do at least know that experience. I try to stay away from hospitals as best I can unless I
Yep.
really need to be in one.
Yep.
So
It will. I really hope that this show has resulted in people having a lot more respect, particularly for emergency departments. Because, look, we've all had to end up in one, and you have to wait hours, particularly if you're not like dying, if you're just there
yeah,
because and it's
last
like there is
August.
a reason for that. The triage, it exists for a reason, but it's like they're not just back there twiddling their thumbs and like, the idea of working a job like that, all I could think every episode was like, I couldn't do this. Like even the way they have to diagnose things and then just do these crazy operations and stuff on the fly. The trust you have to have in your knowledge and your skills, like these are really like you want to talk about the best of us. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
So I
I've heard,
really hope this show gives people respect.
especially after COVID, I have infinite respect for medical professionals at this
Yeah.
point, seeing as I live in America in 2025. But no,
Yeah.
I did wind up in the ER last August and was there for 5 hours.
Yep.
My wife thought I was having a cardiac episode.
Hmm.
Luckily, it turned out to just be really bad gas, $2,200 later, and 5 hours of my time.
Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Great.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to America, right?
We just have the long wait times. We don't have to pay.
Honestly, I'll take the 5 hours and $2,200 later.
Okay. I'll give a shout out to just a handful of honorable mentions. I don't have much to say about them, but I will give a shout out to the Sandman, which I think he's going to grow in my estimation because I really liked this season of the Sandman. It sucks that what happened with Neil Gaiman. Not that he sucks for what he did.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
sucks what all of his creative properties are happening to him or happening to like the
To
staff and
them
all
as
of
a
them
result.
of him being.
I want to see what happens with Good Omens, damn it.
Me too.
Yep. So shout out to the Sandman. Department Q on Netflix was good. I enjoyed that. Paradise on Hulu, sneaky good. I really appreciated that.
That's on my list.
Other ones that we haven't mentioned yet. Invincible, the most recent season of Invincible. Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple was good. We Were Liars was good. And perhaps probably the worst decision of a cancellation this year. I really enjoyed The Residents. I don't understand why it was canceled, but whatever. Creature Commandos was good. Mid-Century Modern, I really like.
Oh, I was going to call that out. That was so wholesome and then also quite emotional because of what they had to do.
The Bondsman, I actually quite enjoyed. That is, Kevin Bacon at his almost unhinged. And also perhaps the worst case of studio interference out there. I did want to give a shout out to Win or Lose as well.
Oh, yeah, I want to watch that.
That
That's
one's
on my
good.
list.
That one's good, but Disney, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, Win or Lose was right outside my top 10. The Sex Lies of College Girls. I'm so sad that got canceled, but I'm not surprised after Renee Rapp left.
Yeah.
Murderbot. Murderbot was an interesting show on
It's on my
Apple.
list.
Dark Winds on AMC. Really like that show. St. Dennis Medical,
Ooh.
new
Yes, that's
workplace
like the
comedy.
nice, happy, wholesome
Yes.
version. That's a bit.
I love David Allen
I did
Greer
enjoy that one a lot.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
Creature Commandos was there too. Cobra Kai. That show is the most soap opera thing for men besides professional wrestling, and I loved it. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I enjoyed
Mm.
that.
Star Wars Skeleton Crew I enjoyed. Eyes of Wakanda I thought was,
Eyes of Wakanda is great.
and then the last one is throw a shout out to Mobland.
Mm.
That, oh my god, I hate Helen Mirren so much in that show because she's so damn good at what she does. But like Tom Hardy, Patty Considine, Pierce Brosnan, just really great. And I need to know what happens next
Mhm.
because that left on such an interesting place for sure. But no, there's been a lot of really good television this year.
Oh, I
Yep.
did forget one before I get to Alice. I also wanted to give a shout out to the King of the Hill reboot as well.
It's on my list.
My God, that's so good. It's just a reminder. It's like, oh, King of the Hill was great. Now
And
it's,
should never have been canceled for the Cleveland show in the first place. Just
yeah.
saying.
All right. Alice, any other honorable mentions on?
You guys have mentioned most of them, and we've mentioned them throughout the show. But yeah, three others I'd say Good Cop, Bad Cop, I really enjoyed. That's another fun little procedural. It stars Luke Cook and Leighton Meester, and they're like pair of siblings that are like they are the main detectives in a small town and have to solve like a different murder every episode. So very wholesome, but also like fun little procedural. Can recommend. I did actually enjoy this new season of Ginny and Georgia. I thought like after, it can be quite intense, but this new season was very like it went through some really interesting themes. I think the characters have become significantly less annoying because they're maturing. And I'm very interested to see what happens next there. Another classic Netflix where we like randomly got season 2 of The Recruit and then they canceled it. So it was like, oh, this is still, I didn't expect this to get a second season. Oh, you've canceled it. So that was like, that was actually getting really interesting toward the end there. I thought the dynamics between the Korean police force, or not police force, Secret Service and the American Secret Service was interesting. And then, yeah, now it's canceled. So I don't know if I recommend it because you're going to end up feeling nothing because of the twist. And then, or not the twist, there's always a cliffhanger. And then finally, it's not finished yet, but I'm very much enjoying Star Trek Strange New Worlds as per usual. I think that it's a really great Star Trek show. I watched the newest episode today, and that was actually one of the that felt, people say that they like it because it feels most like what Star Trek has always been rather than the new version of it. And this one in particular really goes hard on the like moral upset, I guess. It's not really a quandary as much as it is an upset, and kind of like similar to what I was saying about You, like the show You, where it's like it makes you think about like, okay, but why is it affecting you now? And like actually making you think about it. And also for OG, like original series fans, this new episode has a particular amount of like nice little service for you. But it's just it's a really enjoyable show. It's a great, enjoyable Star Trek, like old school TV monster of the week, which is very, very fun to watch. And so yeah,
Like
I'd
Reese
say those.
Dobby.
Yeah, I know. As randomly, I was like, "Wait, is he?"
I
Oh
love
my
that
God.
episode. That
Yeah.
was wild. And I can't wait
Yep.
for Puppet episode.
Yep.
Give me Muppets.
Yeah.
Give me Muppets.
The musical episode was great last season, so I'm excited.
I will give, like looking at my list, a couple others that I wanted to give a quick shout out to. I enjoyed Duster a lot on HBO, but again, so who cares, right?
Yeah.
Ironheart. So I did not have Ironheart as the show that was like, oh, this is where you come in. Okay, cool.
I haven't watched it yet, but I did get spoiled on it.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
Thanks, social media. Yeah, it's hard not to.
Oh yeah, they were throwing one particular character all over social media nonstop.
Not just like random people, like the Marvel accounts, because they give you like a week.
Look,
I remember
we did
with
it.
Agatha
We did
All
it.
Along, they did it with that too. So
That sucks. And then the last one I will shout out, not a TV show, but a song, because we got two instances of Papa Roach's Last Resort. on here. We got it in the Abbott Elementary karaoke show or karaoke episode, and then also it shows up randomly in Devil May Cry, which Devil May Cry, if you like punk music or if you like that early 2000s like rock alternative rap, like the theme song for that show is Rollin' by Limp Bizkit.
Oh.
Yeah. So
So
yeah.
I'll just say It's Always Sunny and South Park are like South Park's only 2 episodes in, but killing it. This new season, Always Sunny, every single episode has been mostly a hit for me.
Mhm.
And that Abbott Elementary crossover was unhinged in the things that Quinta Brunson said. Never would have expected to come out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And that only has 1 episode left. And then, despite the fact that they were over an hour long, the Alien Earth first 2 episodes, it's like has a lot of interesting things that I'm excited about exploring in this show. So those
Well,
are like current shows that I'm
that's
watching that.
that's a good segue into like 2 or 3 shows that
Mhm.
you are interested in watching for the rest of the year. So, Shane, why don't you go ahead and start?
I don't want to start. I need to think about
Okay, I can I can
Okay.
start. I can start because I've got a couple. So I think the couple shows that I'm most interested in having come back, like Stranger Things obviously is up
Mhm.
there, so it almost shouldn't count. But so it's my show, so it doesn't count. But some of the show, like I'm very interested to see how this current season of Twisted Metal wraps up because like have
Mhm.
either of you two started it yet?
Yep. I've just gotten past the first qualifier episode. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
So that's interesting. I am
Mhm.
very, very, very much looking forward to another season of Has Been Hotel. So
Yes.
that's coming out
Mhm.
a little bit later.
Yep, big
And then
one.
also they just dropped it that Fallout is coming back this year. So
This year,
December, yeah. So
1 year later. Amazing how we can do that, huh? A
yeah,
giant show that requires lots of VFX and has very big stars in it. What?
yeah, novel
Hmm.
concept.
I finally watched it with my wife and was absolutely blown away by Fallout.
Yep.
And now
Great.
that is definitely one of my most anticipated shows the rest of this year.
Yep.
Yeah. So Alice, do you have any other shows you want to
Yeah.
shout out?
So besides the ones I mentioned that it's on my list. Obviously, Wednesday I'm like, I've watched the first couple episodes and I'm like annoyed because I'm like, I kind of want to watch the next two, but then I'm going to be really angry because then I'm going to have to wait 3 weeks for the second half. So I'm intrigued to see how they do it. Otherwise, looking ahead, Peacemaker season 2,
Mm,
classic one where it's like, when was the last season? I don't remember anything that happened, but I
I
do
don't even
remember
know if it
that
matters.
opening. I I do remember that opening theme song, and I hope they have something to match because that was a great opening theme song.
I heard that they're adding more people and it's a different song. And I'm cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm
I'll
fine
take
with
it.
that as long as it says fun. Only Murders, new season of that.
Yep.
Always keen for that. High Potential season 2 I mentioned. Slow Horses season 5 is coming back. I just a great show. And Percy Jackson season 2. So they had a couple years break. They're gonna have aged 50 bajillion years. They're gonna have aged like 6 years in what is meant to be a year, but it's okay because they're already filming season 3. So hopefully the time in between gets lesser and lesser. And then finally, I will touch on Gen V season 2. That's one I'm actually very excited by because I think I'm more keen for Gen V than I am the boys.
Yep.
And then I am extremely cautious but hopeful for the paper. I am because I love Donald Gleason mainly, and I
Mhm.
love The Office, but I don't know why this is existing. So I'm hoping that it's good.
Also, I don't know why it's existing so many years after
Yeah.
The Office wrapped
And
up.
I don't really get like if it's just a mockumentary, why does it have to relate to The Office? Like they could have
Because
just done a
Oscar,
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
So
know, like it could just be a show about a newspaper. Like that's okay.
could be, could 100% be.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything except for one that's original to throw out there that you neither of you have said already, but I'm just gonna throw out Pluribus
mhm.
coming to Apple with Rhea
Ooh.
Seehorn and Vince Gilligan.
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah. That's the one I don't. What is that even about?
I don't even care. Honestly,
Okay.
it's after Breaking Bad and
Better.
after Better Call Saul, I'm sold. So, and then I can't wait for Peacemaker
Mhm.
and Only
Yeah.
Murders. They're probably the ones that I'm most excited about. And you know what? I'll even say it. Bob's Burgers, I think, had one of their best seasons in a long time. There's multiple episodes this season that I would put up there as some of my favorites. There's one episode about going to a casino that was absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
So I'll even throw like I'm still excited about Bob's Burgers all these years
Mm.
later. So there you go. Despite the fact that the last season ended this week and then the
Mm,
next season starts in a month because stupid. But whatever. Yeah.
whatever. I am also wondering how Marvel is going to wrap up some of their like TV shows because they've got
Mm-hmm.
Zombies,
Zombies
I'm
and Wonder
interested
Man
in.
and
Wonder
Wonder
Man.
And
Man.
Wonder Man, yeah.
So,
I'm excited because Trevor Slattery's coming back for Wonder Man, and I will gladly watch Sir Ben Kingsley act like a fool as a silly drug addict, or I guess ex-drug addict at
Yeah.
this point.
right. Well, that will be a wrap for our 8 month in
Woo.
year review. So thanks to you both. I always look forward to these two episodes where we do end of the year wrap up and then also well, in this case, 2/3 of the way through the year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
actually.
thank you both. It's always good to talk to you both. Shane, do you want to give a quick, or not quick, but plug of all the stuff
I
that
promise
you?
this won't be another hour. So head over to the Wasteland Reviewer Instagram page where I shamelessly plug all the things that I do. I have my YouTube channel, The Wasteland Reviewer, where I review basically any movies that are coming out, and I have my 3 weekly shows. I have my website, thewastelandreviewer.blog, where I have monthly articles and some weekly articles and written reviews for a lot of new films. And I contribute to Sif Pop, Knock on Wood Film, and of course my 5 podcasts that I have over on the SPDM crew right here. So with my fearless leader, Mike Hilty, who I think hates me calling him that, but I'm going to continue to do so. And check out my new little project I'm doing on Substack because, why not another thing? Where I am walking people through my movie collection through micro articles that I'm writing each day until I lose interest.
Oh, nice, nice. I'm not gonna lie, this fearless leader thing, it's kind of growing on me because fearless leader, Adam calls me the boss, so I don't know. They're growing on me a
I
little bit.
You have a lot of stuff on your hands wrangling all of these wonderful podcasts that you can check out here right on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. So you deserve it.
Company man through and through. Appreciate you as always. Alice,
Hello,
thanks. What
yes.
what would you like to plug?
Yeah, I mean, like mentioned, I'm also a writer on my most recent review. If it's not out already, will be soon. Will be for Freakier Friday, which was thoroughly enjoyable, as any 2000s fan will agree, a Disney fan will agree. And otherwise, my next one's going to be Thursday Murder Club, and I'm fully intending on reading the book before the movie comes out in a couple weeks. So that's the plan. That's the plan. So I'll hopefully have some good things to contribute there. Otherwise. Yep, just showing up on the podcast regularly here and on Sif Pop Writers Room. And then I will be on the Summer Sum Game results for the Sif Pop podcast itself, which will be coming out in September. So I have a feeling I did awful in terms of my prediction of the domestic box office
I
results.
don't even.
Dom-
Yeah.
So
Domestic box office of a country that you don't live in.
Yeah, so
Mm.
I always use that as an excuse because I'm like, I'm going off like vibes and energy. And so like I'm just sitting there and I'm writing a list and it has absolutely no logic behind it. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's totally because of that. It's because I should get a handicap really. So but no, otherwise, yeah, you'll find me if you can find me on Letterboxd and Instagram at AliGMich, MICH, and that's where I'll just let you know where to find me in general.
Cool. I will be sure to link all of that stuff in the episode notes. So please support and check out everything that Shane and Alice are working on. Thanks, and looking forward to chatting with you both at the end of the year.
Woo!
That's going to do it for this episode of SPDM TV. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew, wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and Blue Sky Crew. Check out our website at SPDM. Shout out to High Flyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any needs for marketing, logo, or brand standards, contact them at highflyercreative.com. Check out the other shows on our network. We have a couple of exciting things coming up in the next week or so of some new shows joining the network. So we're really excited about those. Plus, check out the other shows on our network. Really proud of the work that everyone's doing. So I just continue to support them. And finally, if you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM Crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. Until next time, happy watching, friends.